Hey, how's it going? This is JPChivalry. We're going live with Higurashi When They Cry, but more specifically, Chapter 8 Matsuribayashi. Oh my god, what's up, Effie? What's going on? So I went to sleep at noon. Woke up at 3 because people were making noise, and then went to sleep at 8, and lo and behold, we got our regular sleeping schedule back, but it's not what I wanted because of today and tomorrow. We have festivities in the night, so if anything, I just try to sleep at noon, I guess, before the festivities. But we're fine. Yeah, how's it going, Effie? Oh man. So, I mean, I like puzzles. It's just, I wasn't expecting this, and my impatience is showing. So we've gone back in time, and we know what to do. Wait, what? What's up? We delete this because we don't need that. I do want to see the end of chapter 4, so we're gonna delete that as well. We're gonna load this because I do want to see. What impatience? What puzzles? Well, you see, Effie. You'll see it shortly after we go through this little introduction. It's fun. I get what they're trying to do, but I wasn't expecting it, and I mean, I guess that's the point. But welcome to the world of Higurashi Chapter 8 Matsuri 200 IQ stuff. Possibly. Maybe not. It's probably not. Hey Gus. How's it going? In this world, you will be able to recreate the story from Hanyu's point of view. See, we're playing as Hanyu. Your objective is to create the June 1983 ideal to you. You will need to collect many different fragments to make that possible. When this happened, that sound though, the However, Takano's conviction is very strong. To overturn it, you will need a lot of effort and a lot of fragments. When this happened yesterday, I thought, okay, cool, no, that's fine. We're playing as Hanyu. Didn't actually think we would actually play as Hanyu. Be in the moment, be in the feeling. Dealing with gross mod stuff on a Discord server? Oh man, could someone clip the sound, please? I'm on mobile. Oh man. I warn you right now, it'll be a slow and painful process. Hanyu went through it for over 100 years, and she even had to stop and give in to fate. Defeating Takano's conviction will not be easy. The trial in this world will put you through as much pain as Hanyu had to endure. And they said that the difficulty would be low, or there's no difficulty. Technically there's not. I'm guessing it'll make sense as you go through it, but you know. Yeah, it's definitely a slow and painful process. Clipping on mobile. Oh, you can clip on mobile? You may surrender, just like Hanyu did, after being emotionally wore down by the constant repetition of the worlds woven by countless fragments. I'm guessing you would write down notes so you can keep track. I just refuse. When you feel like surrendering, you can end this game at any time. Yep. If this was real life, if I was in Hanyu's position, I would give up. It's as simple as that. I mean, but I mean, I wouldn't know until I'm in the position. I say this, but I wouldn't know. But if you do, the world's revolving around your friend's fate will be limited to Onikakushi through Minagaroshi. By forgetting about this world and uninstalling this product, you will finally accept death. Just like Rika did. Your ideal June 1983 can be created by putting together 50 fragments that are scattered all over this world. To connect these fragments together, you will need the right ones. Surrender now, prepare to fight. What was that from? That's not Team Rocket. Why does it sound so familiar? There are 50 of them, which may be dizzying. However, this world isn't that merciless. To ease your pain, there will be a little help for you. Thanks, Gus. When you choose the wrong thesis, your only ally here will give you a sign that it's not yet time to put those fragments together. Team Rocket, then Marigold. Oh, right. Thanks. As long as that's what it was, right? As long as the sign remains, you won't be able to connect them. Might as well go look for different ones. After you put other fragments together, you might be able to connect the ones you couldn't put together earlier. When that happens, she'll let you know. Let's put those fragments together. Then you'll be able to join the other ones too. When you connect all 50, they'll become one big fragment. There you'll find your ideal June 1983. That's when the long-awaited Matsuribayashi will begin. Before you peek at each fragment, why don't you line up all 50 of them first? Most of them require other fragments, so there are only a few you can actually look at. Let's try to find those first. To see the conditions for connecting fragments, just point the cursor at them. Before anything else, let's find the ones you can look at without any conditions. This will be an extremely long and difficult trial. I mean, I guess they say it right there, but I was just, taking it in. I'm like, no, that's fine. So, laughing so hard I can't breathe. Let me tell you again, Hanyu challenged this for over 100 years and gave up on it. If you believe in miracles in the same way your friends do, even if you don't live in the world where they live, if you believe in them, no problem. Welcome to the world of Higurashi Ch.8 Matsuribayashi. In this world, you'll be tested to see if you believe in the world that Rika and the others believed in. Miracle only happens when everyone combines their strength. The June 1983 created by Takano is nearly indomitable. She's gathered many people whose powers are beyond the average person to her side, her backers being at the center of national authority. Thought it came from VM, but no, it was actually JP. Even if 100 dice all rolled ones, there wouldn't even be a chance to defeat her. In other words, a miracle is the only way forward. A miracle happens only when everyone combines their strength, and you are one of them. Are you ready? I'm more than ready. The key to a long journey is not to pressure yourself too hard. Well, let's take it at a light pace. I'll work while drinking my usual wine. Shall we begin? We have all the time in this world. Can I share this treasure? Sure, go for it. So that's what's going on. But I took it as like a story thing. But no, literally have to combine the fragments. Go through each one. Let's save first. And then connect them. So 50 events. And it has like, I mean, I don't know, it's like vague. It makes sense if you're paying attention, but I'm not. I'm trying my best. But I would not. Yeah. I would not. It's trial and error, remembering notes. Yeah. I just, it's just not for me. But we have a handy dandy notebook. Nearly spat it on my soup. Hell yeah. We have a handy dandy notebook. Coincidentally, this is the right one. I chose it on chance. Because I was like, oh, it's Hanyu. Oh, go for that one first. So this is where we're supposed to start. Just find that funny. But anyways. I like this concept. I like this idea. I just... not for me. Which is why Effie, I asked you if there's puzzles in Zero Escape and Danganronpa. But for those, I have no context. I know nothing. And it's probably... I'll push through for those. It's just weird here. Because I wasn't expecting it, I guess. I don't know. Okay. Oh, man. Listen, I concede. But anyways. Let's go. Local explanatory meeting. The puzzles in the other games are not like this build story thing? Gotcha. What? It also confuses... I mean, because then you have these fragments and they're probably out of order, out of time. It's just like, what? No, stop. But I guess it makes sense. Because this is how Hanyu is seeing it. How she's experiencing it. So it thrusts you into this position. That's a painful existence. So, I don't know. Did you see the Machinarium when I played? I saw a little bit, and I could see, yeah. that one would be difficult. I didn't see past the part where it's like multiple rooms and there's like a lady and a cat and then building up a tower or something. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Maybe, I don't know. It depends on the situation, I guess. When I'm thrust into it, maybe. Then again, 30-minute Zelda puzzle. Anyways. If logic puzzles are not for you, then Zero Escape might be bad. Logic, oh. It might be bad. Might not be my forte. Bro, I love logic puzzles. And you would love this, Gus? Maybe. It's not too bad because there's logic to it. Maybe. Like, I wouldn't know until I play it, right? So I guess we'll see. It's just weird here. Anyways. So the dam construction will bring in new jobs and revitalize the local industry. That's not what we're saying. Who the hell gave you permission to build a dam here? You squeeze tax money from us and this is what we get in return? Who do you think pays your salaries, huh? Do you like Picross? I don't know if I've played Picross. It's my favorite game, man. Not to brag. Let's see Picross. Is that... Oh yeah, I played that. Oh yeah, I do like that. Did you see my Memory of Us? Memory of Us. Clue? But I'm pretty good. Oh yeah, I've played Picross, and I've enjoyed it. Also I have Massive Delay. Oh no. Well, that's not good. Yeah, we downloaded this mobile app. I think it was like a Konami something, but it was basically Picross, right? This isn't so bad. Yeah, you should be fine. Okay. We'll be alright. I mean, we'll just have to see when we get there, but I'm excited. I'm curious. More appropriately. Did you see my Memory of Us when I played? I don't think I did. That's one of those like black and white, and then yeah. Clues the classic board game when you find the killer, the weapon, and what room and giant mansion they kill the victim in. There was a 1985 movie based off of it. That is hilarious. And this guy's in it is the star. Tim Curry. He's so good. Did we read this? Let's go back. Let's read it. Reload. I think you'll be fine, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. It has to depend on how it's presented, I guess, probably. Let's redo. So the dam construction will bring in new jobs and revitalize the local industry. That's not what we're saying. Who the hell gave you permission to build a dam here? You squeeze tax money from us and this is what we get in return? Who do you think pays your salaries, huh? Look, I'm trying to explain to you. We don't want to hear your excuses. We want to know when you'll stop the construction. You're useless. Bring the Minister of Construction here. We'll get to the bottom of it. Shut up, you yuppie. Hey, you're paid with our tax money, so why the hell are you talking down to us from up there? Come down here and let's speak face to face. The auditorium is filled with angry shouting. The sign at the entrance says, Namazawa Dam Construction Explanatory Meeting. Every time the official on the stage tried to say anything, citizens packed into the room silenced them with their shouts. Trying to ignore them, the official continued to explain the pros of the dam, but that just further infuriated them. Between the stage and the citizens, there was an open area where a police squad is standing by. If they weren't there, the citizens would jump onto the stage and start a riot. JP, these explosions are out of control. Something must be done. I'm watching all this from the back of the auditorium. It's obvious to anyone that they're being swallowed by their anger. They become filled with a bloody red rage. The anger that came from a certain purpose becomes a purpose in itself, and it creates a vicious cycle, where anger leads to more anger. Anger is a necessary emotion for humans. People face many difficulties in their lives. Anger gives them the motivation to fight and conquer such difficulties. Therefore, anger is an essential part of life itself. So I'll never reject anger itself. However, anger like this, that goes far beyond normal, makes people forget their purpose. That is no longer an essential part of life. As the blood rushes to their head, a person can't even remember what they've done. They go out of control. Such emotions are very painful, sad, and difficult to endure. Can clearly see the villagers who live alongside us turning into demons. I understand the rules of the human world. The power of an individual can't be compared to the power of the government. To be able to fight, an individual needs to become part of a larger, unified power. But to steer that unified power in the right direction is extremely difficult. The cycle of anger leads to more anger. Not anger that helps you live, but anger that exists only for anger. It's just like being a demon. And this emotion is capable of violently rousing us from our long, peaceful slumber. Everyone is immersed in their own anger. We lived peacefully with the villagers while we slept quietly. Yet now we've awakened. It's like the world is trying to return to that age when demons were said to rise from Onigafuchi Swamp. I keep shouting at everyone to get them to calm down. But my voice can't reach them because of the vicious cycle of anger. Even so, I continue shouting, hoping even one of them will hear my voice. Because if I don't do anything, the demons may awaken. Demons that went to a deep sleep may reawaken because of this commotion. Then, all of a sudden, the atmosphere changed. Looking up, I saw that the angry exchange between villagers and those on the podium had developed into a confrontation between the villagers themselves. What's going on? Shut up! Those are your reasons, not ours. Don't pull us into this, you old hag. Who the hell cares? The hell you say, you bastard? Hey! Do you know who you're talking to? This is Oryu-san. You've got some nerve, huh? Who the hell do you think you are? Shut up! Sonozaki? So what? I'm Hojo. Get your goons away from me. Sub-explosions for Hey, Hojo. How dare you say that you want the village to be submerged? How much are they paying you? Shut up, you old geezer. Listen, there are plenty of poor people in Hinamizawa. Not everyone is rich and has fields all over the mountains like you do. Satisfied with the compensation from the government, they've even offered to provide us with public housing. Yet you're ruining everything, you assholes. Don't pretend you're the same as us. If you want to fight with the government, why don't you fight by yourself? Then who's gonna pay? You? I'm poor and I have 2 kids at home. I was planning to start a new life by leaving here in peace after getting compensation from the government, finding a job elsewhere. But you? Since when did you represent me, huh? Do you think you're that important, or what? Hey, Hojo. How dare you betray us? Get out of this village. Sure, I'll be happy to. But you're gonna pay what I'm entitled to, right? You're gonna pay me every yen of the compensation I was gonna get from the government. Even if I wanted to leave the village, I don't have the money. If you're gonna pay me, I'll leave straight away. Shut up, just shut up. Hojo is right. There are plenty of residents who are willing to leave. You 3 families shouldn't drag us into this. The hell is this? Who just spoke? Come on, who was it? If you want to stay, then stay. We have the right to leave, so don't interfere. That's right. Back the hell off, you damn Sonozaki hag. Of course we'll compensate the people who support the dam construction plan. We most certainly will not steal the land from you. Shut up, government dog. Are you trying to divide the village? Die, Hojo. You don't deserve to breathe the village air. Hold your breath and suffocate to death. Screw you, old hag. I'll murder your ass. Step up front, you damn hag. Hey, stay out of this, you fat pig. Jesus. Very good. That was very good, Hojo. I haven't been this pissed off in so long. You'll get what you deserve. Look forward to it. Get him, Hojo. The government has to provide us new jobs, shelter, and compensation. Hey, stop this violence. All of you stop it. Like hell, bring it on. Come and get some. Everyone is being tainted with the bloody red anger. I can only watch. The least I can do is to apologize for the tragedy that is about to happen. I'm sorry. This is how things started. From this day onward, the Hojo family and the Sonozaki family will wage a feud against each other. The Hojo family will become ostracized within the village. This marks the beginning of Satoko and Satoshi's lives of tremendous hardship. So I guess that'd be the clue. Because this is how it all starts. But you have to pay attention. But anyways, there you go. First one done. How long did that take? Not that long. I'm guessing the length is going to vary though. Fruit. Ran to Satoko on my way to the grocery store for my mother. So hold on. That, boom. Satoko said she was going there too. So we decided to go together. After exchanging our shopping list, it became easy to guess what the other family would be having for dinner. Satoko's family is having grilled fish and cooked vegetables. Having Salisbury steak. My, sounds so very good. I don't mind the grilled fish, but it's the vegetables I'm less fond of. I'm certain there's still plenty of pumpkin left from the other day. And I'll bet you'll be getting a lot tonight. Poor Satoko. I don't appreciate knowing that pumpkin is gonna show up on the dinner table. Ha! Neat. You don't like pumpkin? No matter how it shows up. Rika, you have some food you're not fond of, don't you? Did the text just I don't know, popped in. That's right. You don't like daifuku, cream puffs, or anything sweet, don't you? It's not that I don't like those things. I just choose not to eat them. If I wanted to, I could eat sweets forever. Could even eat pumpkin pie too. Nipa. What's up, guys? Oh, it's not fair that you aren't a picky eater. Conversations like this are how I have fun. Satoko's my best friend. I usually don't like grocery shopping, but if I'm with Satoko, I can make it into an enjoyable evening stroll. Near the supermarket, there's a grocer's and other shops forming a little shopping district. The grocery store is busy this time of day. All the housewives in Hamizawa gather here to shop. Since Satoko and I have different things to buy, we decided to do our shopping separately. Welcome. Oh, Rika-chan. Are you shopping for your mother? What a good girl. Nipa. I'm a good girl who can go shopping by herself. Wow, you really are a good girl. Here, I'll give you this. There are several candies for the owner's occasional asthma attack inside a sieve full of change hanging in the front. He picked out a sweet from there and gave it to me. It was my favorite flavor, strawberry milk. I put it in my pocket so I can brag about it to Satoko later. We get a lot of fun out of teasing Satoko and making her jealous. She always overreacts, so I never get bored when I'm with her. What are you having for dinner tonight, Rika-chama? Ground pork? We're making Salisbury steak. We're gonna put flower-shaped fried eggs on top and draw pictures on them with ketchup. Whoa. Oh. That sounds like fun. I enjoyed that conversation while filling my shopping basket. But then I overheard some woman whispering. They're talking about something that's a little harsh. I'm talking about Satoko. How long do those village traders plan to stay here? They should just leave. They don't even have the guts to go shopping themselves and make their daughter do it instead. The woman went on and on. Ever since the Hojo family and the Sonozaki family got into a huge fight at the explanatory meeting for the dam project, the Hojo family has been ostracized within the village. At first, there were a significant number of families in favor of leaving, like the Hojos. But the main branch of the Sonozakis led a push to completely solidify the village's opinion. And as that tone of unified resistance grew stronger, the pro-evacuation families steadily grew quiet. The public harassment led by the Sonozakis and Kimiyoshis, two of the three families with powerful influence on the village, also played an effect too. The Sonozaki family made the Hojo family into an example, to ensure there would be no more pro-evacuation supporters. The ancestors of the villagers have lived here for generations, and the villagers also knew that they themselves will be buried in this village, so this harassment put a lot of pressure on them. Who was it that agreed to make the Hojo family the leader of the pro-evacuation group at the explanatory meeting? Those same people no longer said anything. They even joined in on harassing the Hojo family. The harassment they faced then became pressure from the entire village. The Hojo family is hardly wealthy. They haven't paid the town council fees in a long time. When things were peaceful, nobody said anything about it. Now that the wind is blowing a different way, the Hojo family was asked to pay off all of their late council fees immediately. It wasn't an amount they couldn't afford, but the Hojos recognized the fight was being picked with them, and they responded to it. So, the Hojo family quit the town council. But that only played right into the village's evil plan. Making an enemy of the town council meant facing vicious harassment. For example, the place the Hojos dumped their trash was a professional dumping site established by the town council and the waste management department. Under the council agreement, only council members could use it. Ever since the day the Hojo family quit the village council, their trash bags were returned to their front door. Furthermore, all the bags were torn. On top of that, a sign went up on the hedge road near the Hojo family. It said, "Private road, no trespassing. Only council members permitted." A stubborn old man stood and guarded the road, saying that he would not let any of the Hojo family members pass through. Private road is private property opened up to the public, so it looks just like a normal road. However, as private property, the owner can forbid anyone else to pass through whenever they like. More and more. The village piled on vicious harassment. The fear of antagonism spread through the entire village, and people became afraid that if they supported the Hojo family, they'd go through the same thing. This has made the Hojo family even more isolated. The grown-ups haven't told their kids about what's going on, so Satoko isn't harassed in any way at school. But it wasn't hard to imagine she probably spent her days feeling so anxious she could hardly breathe. Even the women whispering in here aren't saying anything directly to Satoko, but it's not like she doesn't notice their muttering and the cold stares. When did this village become so cold towards her? As her best friend, it's very sad for me. Satoko's shopping experience is nothing like mine. When I say hello or buy things, I usually get treats or a discount, but that doesn't happen to Satoko. On the contrary, she's served last on purpose. Sometimes shop owners even pretend they don't hear her. Obviously, people don't want to have anything to do with her. Satoko had been weaving through the housewives crowding the shop, telling the fishmonger what she wanted, but she kept getting ignored. She's decided to keep her smile and pretend she doesn't mind, but I know. It's far too painful for her to endure. At that point, Satoko dropped her coins on the ground. Maybe her finger got stuck on something when she was trying to put the change back into her wallet. I ran through the crowd to help her pick them up. But as I did, I noticed something. Satoko dropped a lot of coins, and is struggling to pick all of them up, but nobody is helping her. It's not just that. It's almost like they're acting like they don't even see her there. Satoko isn't expecting anyone to help her, since she's the one who dropped them. But, there's so many people around. Not even one is trying to aid her. Satoko, I'll help you. I'm okay, Rika. That reaction is all I need to tell how hurt she is. Furthermore, when I started to help Satoko, other housewives started to pick up the coins too. As if it's the natural thing to do. So they can only help if the shrine maiden of the Furude family does. If I didn't help, they would have disregarded her completely. And the fact that other people helped only because I did hurt Satoko even more. I grabbed the coins from the housewives without thanking them. I'd rather spit at them than do that. Thank you very much, Rika. Everyone. If she didn't thank them, people would talk about that too. Satoko forced out her words of gratitude. The housewives looked down at her with blank expressions. Can't stand this. Can't stand what Satoko is going through right now. If we're done, let's go, Satoko. Sure. I grabbed Satoko's arm and pulled her away. I was frustrated, sad, and bitter. What has Satoko done? Reality is just too cruel. Everyone loves me. But can I share that love with Satoko? Satoko must be wondering why people treat me so differently. I shouldn't come shopping with her. Or rather, I should have done her shopping instead. Satoko. What is it, Rika? I feel bad that you dropped your coins. So here's something that'll make you happy. I want to at least ease your pain a little bit, so I pulled out the strawberry milk candy I just received. But Satoko refused to take it. That candy was given to you. My hand froze. She saw me getting this candy. That person wanted you to eat it. So if I did, it'd be rude. Satoko turned her back on me and kept walking. Without even saying goodbye, she continued on to her house with the shopping bags in her hands. I only wanted to ease her pain, but I ended up rubbing salt in her wound. How can I call myself her best friend? If I could, I would have crushed the candy right there. PJ Salt. Let me search my mind palace. It seems that we're supposed to go to the dam construction operation withdrawal. Sorry for being late. I had an unusually large number of patients today. Thank you for coming, Lieutenant Colonel Ida. Tomitaki stood up suddenly and saluted when he saw Ida come into the room. I know we read some of these yesterday, but for the sake of continuity, let's reread. Alright, stop calling me Lieutenant Colonel. I'm a doctor. Just can't get used to military ranks. Can you call me Director instead? Understood, Director EDA. Tomitaka, of course, knew that EDA didn't like to be called Lieutenant Colonel, so it was something of a joke. They laughed casually together. On the other hand, Takano looked rather fed up with it. She couldn't stand hearing the same joke over and over, and was even thinking about talking to Tomitaka about it. But she didn't want to hurt his feelings, so she simply never had the chance. Maybe it's because of how Tomitake pronounces it, but she keeps hearing Risa, Lieutenant Colonel in Japanese, Risa. When she heard it that way, she kept hearing Ida Risa every time Tomitake said it. When Takano told Ida about it, he had a good laugh. Today was just a simple meet and greet. Tomorrow was the actual meeting. Tomitake had already arrived, but there would be more inspectors from Tokyo at the meeting, waiting to hear about the progress that had been made. Anyway, I heard the whole village is all up in arms about the dam construction project. You can say that again. The village is in such a mess. I participated in the local municipal explanation meeting as an official, but the whole thing was alive with angry shouts and profanities. After the basic Kinamazawa Dam project was announced, the village was consumed with uproar. The government retraced their plans for concessions rather early on. They made their aggressive stance clear. They didn't want the locals to take advantage of them by showing their willingness to compromise. However, that backfired horribly. As they had historical ties to the land, the government's actions only made their bond stronger. Neither the government nor the locals wanted to back down. People from Kinamazawa are rather hot-tempered. Maybe because they're the descendants of demons. It's not funny. That wild meeting lasted all night. I feel your pain. Really? It's not funny, Tomitaka-san. So what's going on with the dam construction? Are they really going to submerge this village? Tokyo is applying their pressure to the situation too. Things might seem glamorous on the surface, but in truth, the supporters behind it are wavering rather hard. Hope their pressure produces effect soon. The whole village is buzzing with action from dusk to dawn, and I worry the villagers' minds are growing agitated. Sometimes I have to listen to my patients go on and on about their opinion on the dam construction plan. Why do you even listen to them? You're too nice. I have to. I'm a clinic director first and research center director second. It's part of my job to listen to them. It's very nice of you. It's admirable. I know that people in Tokyo will call off a plan sooner or later, but the villagers won't. So they have to live in fear that they might be forced to leave the land where they've lived for generations. Even if they're told to leave, they don't have money, and a lot of them are old. Maybe some wanted an increase in the amount of compensation they'd be offered, if the government changed its mind. I don't think it's possible for them to come to a peaceful agreement at this point. There are actually some villagers who were satisfied with that amount and were willing to leave. However, the Sonosaki family didn't want to change their stance against the issue. They're actually leading the villagers in the fight against the government. There are blaring announcement bans everywhere, and ads and flyers are attached to the circulation notices. It's a serious matter for them. I guess I can understand. Hope the construction plan will be called off soon, for their sake. Once it's called off, this village will become peaceful once again. I know that, of course. Things are moving right along in Tokyo, so please give us a little more time. I've heard a rumor from Tokyo that you're having problems finding a way to pressure the Minister of Construction. Is that true? Oh. Not sure, but I've heard myself that they are having a little problem with some of the details. Takano had powerful people supporting her, but they didn't control all of Japan. There were some things they excelled in, but also other things that they weren't too good at. Finding a way to put pressure onto the Minister of Construction fell into the latter. In all seriousness, though, you really won't be facing any requests to leave this area because of the dam, right? Of course not. I can guarantee you that that won't happen. It's just taking longer than we thought, that's all. So please continue your research. We were told that if things can't be resolved peacefully, then we may have to use drastic measures. Drastic measures? What do you mean, Tomitake-san? You don't need to worry about that part. Director EDA. Please let us take care of it. I see. Okay. Thank you for your work. It's fine, Director EDA. The dam construction plan will be called off. It's already been decided. Hehe. Takano giggled. Tomitake laughed too. However, EDA couldn't understand what was so funny, so he felt left out. EDA only understood the meaning of those drastic measures when he examined a young boy he had never seen in the village before. Young boy. So it's like they're short enough, but also... Guess we'll see. We'll cut it together. The forecast said there was a chance of rain in the evening, but I didn't think it would rain so hard. We decided to wait at an abandoned bus stop for the rain clouds to clear. Sorry, it's Kano-san. Oh, don't be, Jiro-san. I knew it poor, so don't worry about it. It's Kano-san giggled. Though she said the weather might change suddenly, I dragged her out here. I feel stupid for making her come along and ending up ruining her precious day off. I have to go back to Tokyo tonight, so it'll be a while before I can return to Yamazawa. I didn't want to spend my last day at a cheap hotel in Okonomiya, so I asked her to go for a stroll. It's just... I'm really sorry. She teased me for a while, but only a little. She wasn't actually enjoying driving me into a corner. That's just her way of communicating, and I find it very charming. I think I've become captivated by her. But on... Okay, the text is acting up. But on her part, I'm just an auditor from Tokyo. That's why she's being nice to me. It's definitely not because she likes me personally. So I feel like I might have used my position to drag her out here, and that makes me a little depressed. Probably should think this slight fever I have is due to nothing more than a cold. But she was the type of person who made it clear when she disliked something. She wouldn't say so directly, but she would use all kinds of indirect expressions that meant the same thing. So I want to believe she's out here because she might be even a little bit attracted to me. Ha! I shook my head as I frowned upon my selfish thoughts. She chuckled as though she knew what I was thinking. I felt myself starting to go red after that. You're a mysterious person, Jiro-san. That women don't leave you alone, huh? So why are you hanging out with a weirdo like me? A weirdo? No way. You're fascinating, Takano-san. Actually, I feel bad making you spend a day with someone like me. Of course, I decided to devote my life to my work, but life is too dry with only that. You need to switch gears once in a while. Besides, communicating with the opposite sex is good for the brain. Hee. It's all good if I manage to help you clear your head. Don't you feel refreshed just being with me? She gives me an impish smile that makes my heart skip a beat. I tried hiding my embarrassment so she wouldn't notice even my ears going red. Of course, when I'm with you, you know, I do feel refreshed. Yeah. Besides, if you learn about avian photography, I'll gain a buddy to share my hobby with. So next time, I'll bring my old camera. It's really expensive to buy new ones, you know? Thank you. I would love to learn about the avian photography that you're so intrigued by. Looking forward to joining you on a stroll next time you go. So I don't need to buy a camera, do I? No. Try with my old camera first. If you enjoy it, then you can buy one for yourself. I'll send it to you when I get back to Tokyo. Thank you. I'll have you critique my photos when you come next time. Sure. I can hardly wait to see them. Hehe. They'll be nothing compared to yours. It'll be my very first time doing it, you know? Well, she keeps her cool and smiles. All I can do is blush and scratch my head. Am I being conceited? Can't help but think that Takano-san likes being with me. If it's mere flattery, I don't think she'd come along this far. Oh, no. Taking women's flattery seriously is the mistake I always make. I shouldn't assume that she's attracted to me. By the way, isn't this the first time we've been alone like this? Yeah, you're right. Usually the director or some other research staff is around. I don't know anything about you. I don't know exactly what you do in Tokyo, or what you've done in the past. I wonder what you do in the self-defense force. I was an instructor for a while, but I hurt my eye when I was injured. I can live life normally, but they made a big deal out of it, and ever since, all I do is desk work. Takano-san giggles, saying I must have done something silly to cause the injury. When I helped PR with their magazine, I became fascinated by photography. Cameras have the power to make people happy. I bet you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's true. Since I started to take pictures, my life has been a lot happier. How can a camera make someone happy? Well, a camera takes a snapshot of a moment of life. Of course, you want to capture a moment that's filled with happiness, right? So you look for happiness through the viewfinder. And as you search, you realize your everyday life is actually filled with happiness. For example, a dandelion sprouting from the crack of the asphalt is just a weed in the busy life. When you look at it through the viewfinder, it's a gift to let you know that spring is approaching. You capture it and put it in an album. Every time you open the album, you remember the happy feeling you had when you took the picture. So you always feel that way when you take your pictures. Sure, I don't have ambitions of taking artistic photos or capturing a dramatic prize-winning moment. That's not important to me. I want those moments we don't notice. And helping us recognize those little moments of happiness is the greatest thing about cameras to me. So I'm really glad to be able to see Hinamizawa through my viewfinder. I have a tendency to go overboard when I talk, but most of the time Takano-san playfully twists my words right back at me. So it's very unusual for her to listen to me like this. You just sent your letter? Oh man. How do you feel? Takano-san sat down next to me and tried to fiddle with my camera. I don't know how much of an impression I made, but I think she's indeed interested in cameras. I was expecting her to tease me like usual, so I'm happy to see that this is her reaction. Relieved, it's off my chest. Nice. Well, now comes the month, right? Do you want to try? Do you think I can? It's easy. First, you just need to learn how to focus and press the shutter. Why don't you hold it? Oh, don't ever touch the lens though. Phew, this is easy. Hehe. Yeah, okay. It's 1 month. You got this, Effie. Since you seem to show an interest in cameras, I want to take a walk around Hinamizawa and take some pictures of the scenery. But unfortunately, the rain doesn't seem to want to stop. But she was still having fun, kept taking pictures inside the bus stop. So the first set of pictures she ever took were of odd things in that dark little building. Since then, every time we'd meet, we ended up walking around the village with our cameras in our hands. Nice little moments. Nice little... I mean... I guess with the prologue they were trying to make you feel bad for Mio, but, you know... How can you, after Chapter 7's finale? So that was that one. So now we go over here. Kyosuke Irie. Group physical exams are very meaningful for our research. Although it's only for certain age groups, we can examine many of the Hinamizawa residents at the same time. It's a perfect cover for our research center. Also, because of several arrangements, we have a monopoly on the villagers' corpses. We could perform autopsies on them too. There certainly wasn't an environment this rich in opportunity for those in the medical field. Our follow-up on the work of the late Dr. Takano is going smoothly. The amount of data he compiled is absolutely astounding. He truly was an incredible researcher. Excuse me, Director. Oh, Takano-san. Thanks for your work. We just received the rest of the test results from Tokyo. Here they are. Thank you. It's getting interesting, isn't it? Hehe. Glad we can share this joy. Takano-san is my assistant, who is sent from the Self-Defense Force. But she's far from the image I have of an SDF officer. Just like her research is being concealed, maybe her identity is concealed too. I'm sure her name is an alias as well. Just a doctor and a researcher. Without Takano-san's support, it would be impossible for me to manage this institution. She's a pipeline to her clients in Tokyo, my assistant, as well as a researcher who's an expert on Hinamizawa syndrome. Her existence is absolutely necessary here. The more I think about it, the more I feel this should have been the Takano Institute rather than the Irie Institute, and she should have been the director. But that was explained to me when they asked me to take this position. My client wanted a civilian to manage this place. They searched for a person who met their requirements, and there I was. I became the director. I have a feeling I'm just a puppet on their strings. But I won't just sit here and do nothing. I was asked to research a rare disease. I'm a researcher, so of course, I'm excited about that. My client's goals might be different, but I'm here out of the desire to unravel mysteries of Hinamizawa syndrome, and be the first person to uncover a new mystery for mankind. We have all this data that suggests the existence of a parasite as the cause of the syndrome. Yet we still can't find factual evidence of the culprit microbe itself. That's true. Thought we'd find it easily if we used an electron microscope. Viruses are too small to see with a regular microscope. So the invention of the electron microscope was a dramatic advancement in the world of medicine. However, it's very expensive and there's no way for a normal doctor to acquire one. The late Dr. Takano said an electron microscope could find the cause of the disease, but it seems his theory has been proven wrong. Even Takano-san was hoping an electron microscope would find it. She was disappointed when she didn't uncover anything after all the autopsies she performed. Our research seems to be having its first snag. It actually has stalled our work for several weeks now. So we need to think about where to go from here. Which means they're either smaller than microscopic, or maybe there's something wrong with the specimen itself? What do you mean? For example, as you know, wild mice have tons of fleas on them. But you can't find fleas on dead mice. That's because when the mouse dies, their habitat dies as well. So if the host dies, the parasite's world will end too. That's right. Just like you won't find a living human in a post-apocalyptic world. Therefore, we just have to look into the Earth before it ends, right? Hehe. That's true. However, we need to think about human rights. It's hard to look into a brain while the patient is still alive. I mean, that's how parasites usually work. Right? I guess EDA doesn't. No. Examining a living human's brain, no matter how you sugar-coated it, I mean, I guess he's thinking of the ramifications, that bore very grave meaning. From a medical standpoint, it's necessary. But we have rules and morals in this world, and we have to advance medicine within such boundaries. There was a time when I was studying lobotomies for the betterment of mankind. I don't think I was wrong. However, could I ever be forgiven under our ideas of ethics? I don't know. One day my judgment will be handed down by the devil. Whether I'm guilty or not, I have to accept it. As I reflected upon my past, I heard a voice. It was Takano-san's. It's very clear and simple, yet it struck me with surprise. Understood. When we prepare a world on the verge of death. What? I'm startled. Sometimes the phrase advancing medicine bore the whisper of the devil, tempting us to accept sacrifices. Heard that devil whisper. Hee, it's not that difficult. I just have to find a Hinamazawa resident who is about to die, that's all. But even if they're about to die, who would be brave enough to provide their body for research while still alive? Don't worry about that. If they're dying anyway, we're just gonna put them to sleep a little sooner. On paper, of course. Hee. The patient would be legally declared dead, even though they're still alive. And we perform an autopsy while they're still alive. That's impossible. Besides, if we perform neurological surgery, we have to do a circular incision on the cranial area. Their family will notice the marks for sure. That's where we come in. I'll have the mountain dogs look for a patient in the local hospital that matches our needs immediately. All you have to do is wait with a knife and a fork in your hands. I'll bring your meal right away. Hee. Ha. Miyotsukawa-san is my partner. There's no question about that. But I just can't trust her. It's her extremities as a researcher which contrasts largely with mine. But are we so different? I'm here simply waiting with a knife and a fork in my hands, just as she told me. I just don't want to witness such a gruesome scene, that's all. What she's preparing for me now is exactly what I want. Who's the hypocrite? Not her. It's me. How can I say I'm different, knowing what I've done in the past? Perform lobotomies without the patient's consent, despite it being surgery that might affect their life forever. How's that different from what she's doing? I've never doubted my past achievements. However, when I look at her, I start to feel unease. Takano-san is talking to Okanogi-san on the intercom in my office. I'm sure she's telling him to come over just so she can explain him what was just discussed. Simply watching without stopping her. I begin to reflect up on my past to remember why I chose to become a doctor. Poor you, dear. No cost too great. So then... EDA's background. Kyosuke EDA's reminiscence is required. We just got that. I wanted to become a doctor ever since I was little. Doctors make a lot of money. People look up to doctors. I think those are the kind of reasons I had. So when I played with my friends, I always acted like a doctor. I cleaned their wounds and applied ice packs when my friends sprained their ankles, using what I learned from household medical books. Everyone, including me, believed that I'd be a doctor one day. My family was poor, so they praised me for that goal. They told me that I needed to study a lot to become a doctor, so they borrowed some pseudo-medical books from the local library for me. The rental fees weren't cheap. So I'd speed read one book in a day, and the next day my parents would go back to the store to exchange it for a different book, saying they accidentally borrowed a book they had already borrowed before. By doing so, my parents borrowed 2 books for the price of 1. Of course, now I know those books were rather useless, but they were highly motivational just the same. My neighbors called me Dr. Kyosuke-kun, and I was always picked for class health officer at school. Even my teachers helped me with the classes I needed to take to become a doctor. Of course, in reality, becoming a doctor isn't as easy as it might seem. I had to study diligently, and the path was most definitely rough. To become a doctor, one must attend college. Since my family is poor, I was told I wasn't allowed to go to an expensive private school. So I had to be admitted to a national public university. My grades weren't bad, but the admission rate to national public universities is very marginal. Especially since I want to go to a medical school, my chances were even smaller. I studied like crazy. My only driving force was my childhood dream of becoming a doctor. The dream of becoming a doctor and to be looked up to by everyone kept me going. And I was admitted. I wasn't at the top of the list, but I made it in. I was finally at the starting point of making my childhood dream come true. My parents were thrilled. Neither my father nor mother went to college, so they were proud of their son getting into a public medical school. They invited our relatives over to celebrate. Although it was public university, tuition wasn't cheap, but they still had an extravagant celebration anyway. My father didn't express his emotions much. He always kept a straight face. He rarely voiced his opinion or took initiative on anything. My mother took care of everything. He showed up last and left without saying a word. He was a typical stern and silent Japanese father of the time. That's why I was surprised to see him shedding tears of joy. I cried along with him. He went around to all of my relatives while repeatedly slapping my back, saying how proud and lucky he was to have a son like me. He bragged about my achievements to all who would hear them. The celebration became my farewell party as I was about to leave for Tokyo. My father yelled "Banzai" repeatedly at the station as the train pulled away. I was a little embarrassed. When I could no longer see my father, I could clearly recall the tears pouring down. The days of hellish studying and exams began after that. Some days I was tempted to just give up and submit myself to the lavish lifestyle of the city. But the letters from my family always encouraged me and gave me the strength to go on. My dream then was to open up my own clinic in my hometown so I could contribute to the region. I never even dreamed of getting involved with brains. One day, I noticed the difference in a letter from my family. The letter said the usual things about how it was at home and asked how I was doing. But the postscript was what caught my attention. Your father has become really violent lately. Sometimes he turns the house upside down, and I don't know what to do. I just couldn't picture him acting viciously. I was extremely surprised. Did something happen? But in the postscript, my mother said that there was nothing she could think of. My mother and father have been together for a long time. They've been together since well before I was born. So she noticed things that I couldn't. She couldn't even think of a reason why my father had become so violent. What happened? They got along so well, they were such a lovely couple. When it caused a problem for my mother when I was little, my father only bonked my head with his knuckle. Why was he acting this way towards my mother? Maybe there was some kind of misunderstanding between them. I was going home for the new year. Maybe I could have a good talk with him then. But the situation was a lot more serious than I thought. On one cold winter day, I found my apartment door unlocked. Thought someone had broke in, but I found my mother in my apartment with her luggage. That's right. My mother could no longer take my father's fury and came to stay with me. This was back when people still believed in the proverb, a woman has no place to settle down all her life. She couldn't go back to her own family because they lived in the same region as my father, so she came all the way to Tokyo. I heard about my father's violence from my mother's own lips. She cried, saying she had no idea why such a quiet man changed like that. She said she wasn't ever going back to him. I didn't know what to do. I asked her if she could talk to him one more time, but the bruise on her body told me it was no use. To remember what happened afterwards is too much, so I'll be brief. After my mother left, my father thought she was having an affair and went over to the neighbor's house with a wooden sword. He was arrested. He was released immediately, but he assumed someone in the neighborhood was hiding her, so he did the same thing repeatedly. He eventually reached the point of getting into fights with anyone he saw. At the end, he picked a fight with some young punks and ended up being beaten to death. My relatives gave my father a decent funeral, but my mother didn't attend. It's no use being a dead horse. So, nobody said anything negative about my father, but everyone was simply puzzled as to why he changed so much. What's up, Gus? What I heard from my relatives about my father's final days was a lot stranger than what I heard from my mother. My mother only told me about his sudden rage and violence, but my relatives told me. He also laughed and grew sad. Apparently he displayed several sudden fluctuations of emotion, especially so in his last years. They also told me that he started to complain about headaches after an accident he had. I've stolen this? You cannot do anything about it. Is it stolen if you pay for it? With gold? My father was a construction worker. He had hit his head hard on a construction board during an accident at work. He regained his consciousness quickly and seemed fine. But since the accident, he started to have headaches and behave abnormally. I sensed the connection between the accident and my father's changes, so I talked to my professor after I went back to Tokyo. Can't say for certain, but it sounds like it's possible your father suffered from some kind of brain damage. There's a chance that blow to his head caused an organic mental disorder. The symptoms your father showed in his final years are similar to the delirium and mental fluctuations you've often seen in similar patients. Human behavior is created by the brain. If the brain is damaged, it can cause erratic behavior. In other words, my father wasn't crazy, he was suffering from a disorder. If you can perform an autopsy on him, you should check his brain carefully. Maybe you'll find something like a tumor there. My father had already been cremated, so there was no way of knowing. But hearing about his behavior, I knew for sure. That was the only way to explain why such a quiet and gentle man would change. I tried to explain all this to my relatives to regain my father's honor, but hardly anyone understood. If his brain was damaged, he would have been dead. But he was alive and well. So the accident didn't damage his brain. It wasn't his brain that caused him to change, it was his mind. He simply brushed it off like that. This is the perception most people have about the brain. They don't realize the mind and the brain are connected. Most of the relatives didn't believe me, but there was one person who I really wanted to, anyway. That was my mother. As she got older, she grew senile and she exaggerated the abuse she had to endure. All she did was criticize my father. Every time she ended up crying, lamenting that she married him. They were a lovely couple. We were a great family. So I wanted to convey to her that she was misunderstanding the situation with my father. My father's behavior was caused by his brain damage. What he did to her was very sad, but he didn't want to be that way. I told her that he wasn't at fault. But my mother didn't understand. Before she took her last breaths, I begged her to forgive my father. But her final words were, "Please don't bury me next to that man." My father wasn't at fault. He was simply the victim of a brain disorder. You don't complain to a person who's coughing because he has a cold. Because coughing is just a symptom you should be sympathized with. Well, in my father's case, the symptoms weren't as obvious as a cough. They took the form of changes in personality, which are much harder to recognize. If I had studied the brain more, I could have explained it better to my mother so that she could have understood him. And they could have been a nice couple again in heaven. When I realized that, I cried. And I also realized that there are plenty of people like my father in this world who are suffering from a disorder, yet they are misunderstood and despised for it. And then I found out. I found out about a miraculous cure for such disorders called lobotomy. Ever since that day, I spent my days learning about the brain so I could help people who are suffering from mental illnesses. My father is gone. But if he was still alive, I could cure him myself, so he and my mother could reconcile. That's the main reason why I'm here. You didn't know, Pepe laughed, about lobotomies. Very tragic. Alright, so that was that one. Let me go over here. Requesting assistance from a queen. The research seems to have stagnated. Instructions for the kidnapping operation of the minister's grandson are required. Guess? That very night, the head of the Furude family, the priest, gathered his wife and Rika together for a family meeting. In Hinamizawa, it was tradition for the three families to gather and discuss the village's issues. So it's hardly unusual for big families like the Sonozaki family and the Kimiyoshi family to have meetings beforehand to sort out opinions among themselves. However, the Furude family had lost its branch families, so there were only three of them left. So until that day, they had never had a family meeting at all. What is it? Being so formal. Is it about the dam construction? The dam is the most important issue in the village at the moment. The wife naturally assumed the priest wanted to talk about the dam. For him to gather all of them together like that must be a huge decision he had to make. Perhaps he was going to talk about joining the pro-evacuation camp. No, it's not about the dam, but it's about something extremely important which concerns this village, and perhaps all the ancestors of villagers too. Villagers. The Furude family had served in the priesthood of Orochi-Osama, the guardian deity of the village, for generations. So for him, the head of the family, to start out that way must be something extremely important. Yet he said it wasn't about the dam, so what could he want to talk about? I married into this family, so I want you and Rika, who carry the true blood of the Furude family, to listen very carefully. You too aren't normal human beings. I'm the reincarnation of Orochi-Osama, right? Rika, you shouldn't say such things. Dear, let's talk about things like that without her. She's heard enough nonsense from the elderly people at the village hall already. What she just said about her being the reincarnation of Orochi-Osama, that appears to be true. What? It's rather a long story. Please, just sit tight and listen to me. The wife had a dumbfounded expression on her face, but not knowing what he was going to say, but Rika was completely relaxed, wearing her usual carefree expression. The priest started to talk after his wife calmed down. There is a disease in this village that has been here for many years. It's a special disease which only exists here in this area. Everyone who lives in this village has the disease. Not only the people who live here now, but all the people who have ever lived here and the disease. What? So why does he know? But we're all perfectly healthy. I've never heard of a disease exclusive to this village. Calm down. As long as we're here in this village, the disease won't cause any problems. But once you move away from this village, that's when it starts to act out. You understand? How can you expect me to understand such a thing? I have no idea what you're talking about. It's the same as the curse of Orochi-Osama. Rika said it so calmly, while her mother became frustrated. That's right. They say that when you leave this village, you're cursed. It's just like that. In other words, the curse of Orochi-Osama, which our ancestors have feared for generations, is actually a disease that only exists in this village. How could that be possible? You've left the village before. Other villagers too. Some have gone on business trips and some even traveled to foreign countries. True. That's probably because the disease has weakened over a long time. So it's going to disappear eventually. But the business with the dam disrupted that process. Everyone knew that during the dam war, the entire village was aflame with agitation. Such excitement and emotional instability makes the disease stronger. I still don't know what you're trying to say. What we thought was a curse all this time was actually caused by the disease? That's right. All the rules Orochi-Osama came up with were to protect the villagers from the disease. No way. Then Orochi-Osama's curse? Orochi-Osama is actually a disease, not a god? How could that be? How can I explain that to the Furude family ancestors? Calm down. Faith in Orochi-Osama won't change. The fact that Orochi-Osama is watching over Hinamizawa will remain the same. It just means the disease producing Orochi-Osama's curse was in this village since long ago. That's all. I won't accept that. How can I explain that to our ancestors? This is a desecration of the Furude family's age-old traditions. No, this is a desecration of Orochi-Osama. Who told you such a thing? This isn't acceptable. In the first place, can you prove such a disease actually exists? I can. What kind of proof? Who gave it to you? The people from the Ministry of Health and the National Institute of Infectious Disease Prevention. They've already found the pathogen, and they're searching for a cure right now. I saw the documents and the samples last week. The people at the Ministry of Health call it Hinamizawa syndrome. I'm attempting to learn Dear You on the piano. Dear You? Is that a... which one's that one? From Higurashi. Okay. I see. What? Is that a cover? Hold on. Oh, okay. I see. That one just says vocals. Gotcha. You heard it. You should hear it at some point. I'm guessing that maybe that's one for the anime or something. But it's in the game, right? Well, good luck with that, Effie. No way. Good luck with learning it. As long as you lead a normal life, the syndrome is harmless. Once you go far from Hinamizawa, if you become emotionally unstable, It's easy for the disease to manifest itself. When the disease acts out, you can be possessed by your own delusions. And in the worst case scenario, you can go mad. They discovered this disease during the war. A distinguished scholar noticed that only the soldiers from Hinamizawa came down with an abnormal disease, and he's been researching it all these years. They explained some details of this research, but I'm sorry. They're too complicated for me to explain. If you don't believe what I'm saying, why don't you go listen to them yourself? First, I was indignant too, wondering how they dared to blaspheme Orishiro-sama and spout such nonsense. Left hand stays the same, but the right should not be hard. But the struggle is... Did you make any progress with the puzzle that way? Oh, yeah. No, we're good. We're fine. Teehee. Move that there. The EDA clinic was built to study the syndrome. It appears to be just a clinic on this outside, but it's actually a secret research center for studying the syndrome. Secret research? That's ridiculous. It's actually backed by the Ministry of Health. Why aren't they doing it out in the open? Something's just called you. Not sure which it is. Also, hey Drake, how's it going? It's 100% you. Well, I guess they can't. For example, think about leprosy victims who were misunderstood and exiled. They are still misunderstood and discriminated against, even today, in fact. The whole country finds out about this and thinks that everyone in Hinamizawa who has contracted this weird disease can go mad at any moment. It'll turn to chaos. The Ministry of Health has taken that into consideration and is working on developing a cure while keeping the disease a secret. This way I'm staying to dear you because it makes more sense. Don't get me wrong, though. They aren't trying to put us on display or anything. They're trying to eliminate this disease and free this village from it. It was a different story long ago, when we supported ourselves, but nowadays it's impossible not to leave the village. If a simple act of leaving the village can trigger the disease, you realize how dangerous it is for the villagers, right? I'm repeating myself now, but in the recent dam protests, the whole village entered a strong, excited state, which is very bad for the Hinamizawa syndrome. For some reason I can't find the score if I just type you. Okay. Some villagers go crazy and do something horrible. It'll be all over the media. That's right. If that happens, it'll be too late. But how can I believe this? Are you sure we're dealing with people from the government? Are you sure you aren't being tricked? I don't blame you for not being able to believe it. I said we can come take a look at their facility anytime. I've seen it before, and I know that no mere fraud could have set up something like that. Even the big hospitals in Gokura don't have such large-scale equipment. If you can't believe what I just told you, you should go to the research center yourself and ask questions. They can explain it better than I can. They said if their explanation isn't good enough, they can explain it to you at the National Research Institute in Tokyo, or even at the Ministry of Health's main office. Whether I believe it or not, how are we related to that? It is said that the Furude family inherited the blood of Orishiro-sama. And it also said that if a girl was born for 8 continuous generations, the 8th generation girl would be the reincarnation of Orishiro-sama. Beep! That's right, I'm the 7th. Rika's 8th generation. What does that have to do with the disease? I'm not saying it wrong. Oh, that one. Alright. I can't find a score if I would type you. This is 144 million upload of Barmali. Don't worry, be happy. But it's Bobby McFerrin. Is it Bobby McFerrin? Leave me alone. This Hinamizawa syndrome is caused by a type of parasite. Although they're very tiny, you can't even see them with the naked eye. Say there's a sort of leader among these parasites. Are you saying that's the Furude family? Yep, Bob Marley was long dead when the song was written. Imagine if I said, hey JP, I'm learning you. Learning me? What? That's weird. Feels weird, man. Weird champ. It appears that the leader of these parasites is passed down through generations only by people with a direct bloodline to the Furude family. In other words, in the previous generation it was you. Now it's Rika. Me. JP, I'm learning you. What am I holding? I put in quotation marks as is grammatically correct from Fergus songs. No. If she did that, though, I would probably be confused. Also, because I would think of the TV show You. Which is like, what? How are you learning a TV show, Effie? No. Mercury. No, You. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Why would it be something as disgusting as parasites in the first place? Calm down. Not good at explaining things. Please have the experts explain it to you. According to them, studying this parasite leader is necessary in order to research the disease. No! It won't have anything to do with such suspicious research, and Rika won't either. Then just say the song with You. That would work. I'm telling you to calm down. I think that Hinamizawa syndrome acts out when separated from the parasite leader, not the village itself. When you were little, do you remember villagers telling you that you had psychic powers? You were able to cure elderly people who got migraines after taking a long trip. That's the proof that you were carrying the parasite leader. The Furude bloodline has the power to cure people with the disease. To discover a cure, it's extremely important that we participate in their research. Okay. We move some things. There we go. If they study me, will the villagers be safe? That's what they say. And all the villagers are infected? Me? Everyone else? Is Toko too? Yes. Not only the people who live in the village, but their relatives in Okonomiya too. We're talking thousands of people. That's why the Ministry of Health spent so much money to build a specialized research center. I object. How can you let Rika be a sacrifice for something that suspicious? I don't mind. Toko can be saved. I don't mind being sacrificed. I really don't. Aw. You be quiet, Rika. I absolutely refuse. I'll go talk to them and refuse them directly. Won't let them kill Rika in some crazy experiment. Besides, Rika is the one and only heir of the Furude family. What if something happens to her? The Furude family will die right there. Don't you see that? You need to think more about our family. That's why the villagers call you an opportunist. After all, don't you think it's odd? The Ministry of Construction is trying to submerge the village. The Ministry of Health is trying to cure a disease. What in the world is going on? Okay, You hit many flats. This is so wrong. How is it wrong? The Ministry of Health has warned that the disease could be triggered by a change in environment. So they're actually trying to have the Ministry of Construction stop the damn construction plan. You really should go to the research center. Why would they build such a huge facility in a location that could be submerged? I guess I don't know music, so I don't know. What? Rika let out a big yawn. It was long past bedtime for a little girl like her. Going to bed now. Dad, please let them know I'm willing to participate, okay? Rika, you can't make such a decision without consulting me. Rika, wait, Rika! Why is the mom so... I guess, I don't know. She was raised. Need an outsider perspective. So that was this one. So we go over here. Which is at a quarry in Gauchi. When researching Hinamizawa syndrome, there is something very important that needs to be discussed first. If something happens to the Queen Carrier, the village will collapse. In his article, my grandfather called it the most dangerous situation. According to my grandfather, if the Queen Carrier dies, all the infected persons will go terminal within 48 hours. This may sound unbelievable at first, but research on the collapse of past local religions and group suicides around the world should indicate that there's some truth to it. Among all the mysterious incidents around the world, there are some that were caused by parasites controlling entire communities, very similar to Hinamizawa syndrome. Grandfather picked a few cases that are very similar to the syndrome and investigated them. As a result, he confirmed multiple cases of entire communities losing their minds after the death of a religious leader or founder, and finally annihilating themselves. He stated that, on average, it happened within 48 hours. It's clear that infected people are affected by the Queen Carrier, and the condition of the Queen Carrier is, in fact, affecting the entire village. Our statistics already prove that on weeks Rika felt sick and visited the clinic, we saw an exceptionally high number of visitors. Rika being sick with a simple cold had a massive impact. If something particularly bad happened to her, we'd be facing a serious situation within 48 hours. That's why the EDA Institute has to protect Rika Furude, the Queen Carrier. It's the most important mission of the Hinamizawa Syndrome research project. She's already agreed to help us in our research, but we have to be very careful not to put her in any danger. Also, we have to protect her from anyone who would try to harm her. Her life is equal to the lives of 2,000 villagers. But what if something happens to her by accident? The EDA Institute must prepare for that situation. Did I alert in Russia? Your cheese is sliced in the amount you wish to purchase? What? The amount you wish to purchase. Like, isn't that usually how it works? That's why I worked on the draft of an emergency manual when the EDA Institute was first established. Do they do that where you are? Well, I guess there's the regular blocks and then there's like the deli near like cheese wheels. Oh, okay. We don't get cheese wheels. Well, it's like a rectangle. I mean, it depends on like what you want. Imagine calling places delis. I mean, that's what the section's called at the grocery store. Jesus. What? What's wrong? That's why I worked on the draft of emergency manual when the EDA Institute was first established. It's a precaution in case the Queen Carrier dies, or if infected people show acute symptoms due to the death of the Queen Carrier. This is an emergency procedure which must be followed within 48 hours of the mass occurrence of the acute symptoms. Yeah, you'd be like, I want it this thick. Then they cut it off, and then they give you a packet, or not packet. They just give you it. What's up? Hey Quinn, thanks for the raid. How's it going? Hey Tom, Brothers, raid pod. Brothers is an ass. What did he do? What happened? I mean, raid. Hey Quinn, how was it? How was everything? You're playing Grand Theft Auto 5? Oh wait, no, that was Magic's. Okay. Tom, thank you for the bits. Appreciate it. Where's Quinn? Also, Super, how's it going? Oh, you're playing Don't Starve. How was Don't Starve? Yeah, certainly that was role playing GTA 5. It was you. It was Pog you. Yeah, how's Don't Starve? We're just reading chapter 8 of Higurashi, When They Cry. You know? Literally just woke up, need to go make coffee. BRB. Sounds good, Super. Was good, my base just got slammed by a volcano. What? Oh my god, last chapter, right? We're almost done. We're not finishing this today. I would imagine we would finish this by Monday. Maybe Sunday. We'll see. But yeah, how was so volcano? What? Is that always there? Don't recall. I know it's Effie. No, you're finishing it today? No, Effie, I can't. It said, Dirk said it took 26 hours. We're only like 5 hours in. It's in Shipwrecked? Oh, okay. That update. I forget when I last played, but marathon stream. No, can't rush this, you know? Gotta take our time. Yeah, but Dirk read it slowly. Is that what happened? I mean, he played it correctly, right? Technically. I'm just doing what I'm doing. Let's see. Let me move this over there. I don't know, man. Final measure is to prevent the damage from spreading to nearby areas. The plan uses gas, making it look like a natural disaster. My client, the Alphabet Project, took the responsibility of working out the details of the plan. They're used to dealing with things like nuclear and biological weapons, so they ended up being such a big help. There's no way I could have come up with a plan on my own to execute 2,000 villagers. Whoa. Just wish I got everything for Dangan in 69 hours. How many hours did you end up with? Me? Read slowly? Someone hasn't seen my latest VOD. Haven't seen many of your latest VODs. Through a dummy company, the ground SDF has secured a closed quarry in the Gauchi region, upstream of Hinamizawa. It's to be the secret storage base for the equipment we'd use in that operation. Equipment that sprays deadly gas that kills people as if they were falling asleep is stored here. In the case of an emergency, a special unit of the ground SDF is to use the equipment to destroy the village. Did they not? Oh, I guess they moved it before they had the kidnapping event. We do nothing slowly around here, like lions. It's like, can't watch your VODs at 1.5, slow down. That's happened with some streamers. Can only go like 1.25. However, preparing for the execution of the villagers itself is politically dangerous. So if I insist on them getting the equipment ready, I have to make them understand how dangerous Hinamizawa syndrome is, and also how urgent the need is to have a contingency plan. I have to prove the need for the plan by showing them enough data. So the files my grandfather kept intact come in quite handy. When the clients read my grandfather's articles about the syndrome, they were surprised to see how catastrophic things could be in the worst case scenario. Dude, I can't even go 1.5. The man fucking eats. I feel like it's so. You want to ban this person? Tom. Poor Tom. Is it time? Hold up. You asked me to slow down so you can watch it sped up. Want to watch it at normal speed? Don't use the it's too slow argument watching it at normal speed. One is read quickly. If I did it slower, you just have longer VODs to sit through. That's not wrong. It's okay. Everything's fine. Do whatever you want. Did I read that second paragraph? The clients read my grandfather's articles about the syndrome. They were surprised to see how catastrophic things could be in the worst case scenario. I did. Point is you read fast. That's all there is to it. In other words, if something happens to this girl, the Queen Carrier, all 2,000 of the villagers would come to range. Is that what you're saying? Yes. There have been several cases similar to Kamizawa syndrome, where group suicides take place. In the case of the syndrome, we can easily expect extreme defensive behavior which results from deep paranoia. The result may affect all 2,000 plus carriers. From there on, we may face abnormal situations involving lawless violence and bizarre religious despondence. We must be ready to face such a situation by having a contingency plan. Otherwise, we'll draw attention from the rest of the world. We have to remember that we only have 48 hours to respond once it happens. That's all there is to it. Osmosis Jones emote? What? Osmosis what? Rice Champ? Rice P? Pixie Hype? Brothers God? Are those all the subs you're in, Tom? Need to make a clip from my latest one. Okay. Are you saying that if it happens, there's nothing anyone can do? Can't you treat everyone within 48 hours? That'll be impossible. Impossible. We don't even have a cure, and the research center isn't capable of taking in all the villagers. How frightening to realize such a disease actually exists. The world is full of mysteries. Speaking of emotes, June. Oh yeah! Pride Month. So 25 new emotes, 300 bits minimum to get... How many emotes do you get for donating 300 bits? Is it just one, or do you get 3 as well? Then for each sub and gift... I don't know. But it's back. Constant vigilance against worst case scenarios supports our national defense, and is one of the ideas behind the Alphabet Project. Besides, our goal is not to use the plan, but it's vital to be prepared. Indeed. And precisely as you say, I'd still like to look into strengthening the rules of approval authority behind applying the plan. But I understand the necessity to prepare a response for a worst case scenario. You have no clue? Yeah. I didn't look too much into it, but I guess we'll find out Monday. Let's have the Urban Suppression research team run a simulation of the Hinamizawa suppression operation in the region. I think we should get it going as soon as possible. It's possible that the Queen Carrier Girl may be hit by a car and be killed at any moment. Thank you, Major Tsukano. We have further questions, so you can sit down. Thanks to a push from one of my backers, things were decided without too much of a problem. It took me almost all day to explain it to them, but it only took a short time to come to a decision. Also, eck. Eck. Nobody criticized, ridiculed, or tried to reject my grandfather's articles out of hand. I mean, I can't take credit for that. I mean, It's John's thing. In the files they're all reading today are the very same shameful articles those haughty authorities left their footprints on as they trampled them in my grandfather's heart. But they aren't ridiculing the articles. They're reading what was once rejected. It's nothing big at a glance, but in this moment, my grandfather's research is being recognized for the first time. My heart is filled with satisfaction to see people discussing amongst each other, while pointing to my grandfather's files and raising them as proof. I've worked so hard for this day. Grandpa in heaven, can you see this? Probably. Papa, can you see me? Imagine redeeming Ek for 10k channel points. Should that be a thing? I mean, I don't mind doing it whenever. Put that there. You have no clue? Okay. Okay. So that was number 8. Help from the Queen Carrier is required. So we go over here, because my Mind Palace is telling me that we do Depression of a Shinto Priest. Rika's Toko shopping trip is required. The Shinto priest contact in the EDA institution is required. To be fair, the first time I heard it, it didn't register. We're finishing this tonight. Cool. Okay. Let me move that there until this game doesn't do that. First time I heard it didn't register. Oh, that noise. The gathering place inside of the Furude Shrine is in fact the headquarters of the Onikafuchi Guardians. Normally a shrine should be a calm and quiet place, but there are anti-damp signs everywhere, making it very obvious what this location has become. Were you eating? Because it was going to 5:30. Because it was going to be 5:30. There are over 30 members of the Guardians here at the moment, and they're having a heated conversation about their plans for the future. Although this meeting place is on the Furude family's property, it's a community facility, so it closes at 9 p.m. Of course, sometimes the discussion gets so heated that it goes on past closing time. Closing time. But meetings are supposed to end by 9. If a discussion ends early, they usually chit-chat until that time. That's what usually happens. Of course, they mostly talk about the dam even when they chit-chat. They talk about someone's mistreatment at the government office, or someone getting arrested unjustly, or complain that people at the dam construction site are too violent. Fuck's sake, I can't type today. Raffle. Since it's idle chatter, the topics are slightly emotional, and because of that, there's a good deal of bad-mouthing the Hojos. Then she threw the circulation notes away. Can you believe that? That woman is crazy. Just the other day, she got into a huge argument with Mikino-san's grandmother at the trash pickup. You know, the husband is rude too. He's so irrational. Ah, did you see him at the explanatory meeting? That was bad, huh? Can't believe they're still here. Wish they'd just leave. He said something about money? He has absolutely no shame. No. Talk about being irrational. His wife is the same, or even worse. Wahahaha. Must be hereditary. It's a good movie. I see their daughter is shopping quite often, so I used to say hello to her, but she never replied. Can you believe that? So I got tired of it, and I don't say anything to her anymore. Hey, their son always looks so depressed, doesn't he? Hahaha. Jesus. All this bad talk, or back talk. Irrational. By now, the Hojo family has become the enemy of the whole village. Bad-mouthing the Hojo family was the greatest shared topic that anyone could easily contribute to. If he had known how powerful the three families were, especially the Sonozaki family, if he had known Oryu-sami's character, he wouldn't have said the things he did. Did I say Sama? San, right, San. The Hojo couple were residents here. Though they were never very enthusiastic about the council activities, they should have known what kind of person Oryu-san is. You could have imagined just what would happen to him if he talked to her that way. Yet, he let his anger take over and voiced his unpleasant feelings. Also, I forgot to answer. I have 71 hours in Dangan. Ah, 2 hours short. So most people think the Hojo family brought their isolation upon themselves. If they want to negotiate with the government regarding the move, they should have done so privately. Yet he was foolish enough to express himself at a public gathering like that. It's not tell me he sympathized with the Hojo family. Sana. What's Sana? Sama is like, well, right, that's like godly, right? Because Oyoshiro-sama. What's Sana? Ever since the big fight at the explanatory meeting, the Sonozaki family has looked at the Hojo family as their enemy, started to go after them. That caused the other pro-dam families to go quiet, fearing they would be made scapegoats too, and those who wanted to leave were bitterly forced to give up. Even those people started criticizing the Hojo couple, saying they could have gotten their compensation to leave if the two hadn't picked that reckless fight. Both the anti-dam and pro-dam people hate the Hojos now, and the family has become even more isolated. Moreover, the Hojos are both very aggressive. They should have stayed quiet at least until things settled down, but they didn't. That alienated the handful of people who took pity on them as well, so now nobody even says anything to them. All of that was immediately obvious by listening to the foul talk here and there at the gathering place. Rika always helps out by putting the teacups away, so I'm sure she hears what they say as well. One of the Hojo family members there bad-mouthing is Rika's friend, Satoko-chan. It hurts to think about what Rika feels while hearing that. As priest of the Furude Shrine, should I let this continue? Oyoshiro-sama is a god who makes peace between enemies. When the humans and demons fought, Oyoshiro-sama descended from heaven and mediated between both sides. As the caretaker of this shrine, I must do something before it goes too far. What is that about, Gus? Felt like rage. I'm sitting next Oryu-san, who is spitefully disparaging the Hojo family. So that ass was talking shit to me. Who the hell cares? He'll be cursed by Oyoshiro-sama, that's for sure. The elderly people cheer her on as they listen to her speak. If I barge in now, I have a feeling it won't be a peaceful conversation. That should be your ek. That emote. But I have to make up my mind. As the priest of the Furude Shrine, also for the sake of Rika's friend, Satoko-chan, Oryu-san, don't you think you've said enough by now? Huh? What the hell are you trying to tell me? Well, I'm sure Hojo-san really didn't mean what he said. Isn't it a bit much for this kind of treatment to go on for so long? Shut up! You heard what he said, didn't you? Weren't you pissed? He pissed me off. Shit. Oryu-san is the head of the Sonozaki family, the heir to the demons. She never forgives anyone who stands against her. So there's no way she would even listen to what I'm trying to say. Oryu-san and the others became furious and refused to listen to me. Hope you're enjoying the game, dude. Just gonna eat some dinner with Steph, so we'll be lurking, having fun. Sounds good, Fog. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good dinner. Oh, that sound you did? Monka S? Monkus? What happened to the sound? Did we drop frames? We did not. So this is Twitch being Twitch. So let me move that there. Oh shit. Okay, we're fine. Everything's fine. Behind the scenes stuff. Also, let me mute to adjust my seat. I don't know. Well, if anything, check the VOD. Forgot to check last time. The Twitch has been gross these days. Oh yeah, they changed their creator dashboard. So now you can always see what's on for the different sections. I don't like that. I like the old way. You just click and then... I guess it's convenient, but yeah. I also mentioned that the dam construction plan will be cancelled soon, so they should calm down already. I said that because the staff at the Iria clinic told me that the government is putting some kind of pressure on the Ministry of Construction. What? What do you mean? Let's see. Let me try it. Let's show it. Can I show this? Yeah, that's fine. Let's see. That. There we go. So before, this was not here. But now it's like that. Which I think is okay. Not the creative dashboard is the same, is it? But yeah, this was not here before. Before you were like click, I think that. Oh. Well, never mind, I fixed it. Okay, well, never mind. Alright, never mind. It was non-issue, non-problem. I just clicked it, I guess. Oh, hey, you can do shoutouts. That's cool. Oh lord. I broken Ham here. Ham, what's going on? Why are you broken? Don't mind me. I thought it was new. You know, sometimes. So smart. So that because of the staff of the Idiot Clinic told me that the government is putting some kind of pressure on the Minister of Construction. Does not stream. Does he not? I mean, there's that. Sparkum guess Seether and Amy Lee. Seether? I've heard of Seether. Amy Lee, I don't think I've heard. Thinking that I'm being opportunist, soon criticism of me began to circulate the room. After that, I realized I'd become branded as a fence sitter. If the demons are willing to listen, then there's a chance to make peace. But how can I make peace with people who refuse to listen? I destroyed their mood, so I just have to give up and shut my mouth. Then I felt a little hand on my back. Rika, it's getting late. Why don't you go home? No matter how hard we try, we can't reach them. Rika looked into the distance while she spoke. The evil... Oh shit, she got that face. The evil of this corrupted village is probably beyond the means of those of us living in that muck. But I won't lose hope. Surely, someone who will destroy this stagnation will arrive. Very soon, I know. Her eyes shone as if seeing a future that only the Maiden of the Frude Shrine could see. BRB buffered. Sounds good, Ham. Ham doesn't stream. You can still follow him. So that was this one. No, that was not this one. I mean, it was, but it's a different side. He's not gonna return, mate. He's not? Oh. Ham, come back. Just kidding. Did I... Wait, where are we? Oh, we're on number 9. Okay. So then... go over here. This buffering on this end it's never gonna stop. I just buffered. Oh no. So she's gonna return though. Ecking cursed. It's eck. Screen 2. A murder with a dismembered body. Repetitive apologies are required. Early summer, 1979 AD. Eat? Because of this plot point? Huff, 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 huff. Shit, damn it, shit. Manager? Manager, come on, say something. Manager? You idiot. He's dead already. That is too good. Oh shit. Clang. A loud noise snapped everyone out of it. Someone dropped the shovel he was holding. The shovel was smeared with reddish-black blood. No, not just the shovel. All 6 construction workers' clothes were blood-soaked too. One of them cried out to the silent dead body of the manager, which was drenched in blood. Manager? Manager? Shut up. He's already dead. It was self-defense. Right? Self-defense. Hi guys. Google died here. The fight had started after the manager yelled at them for drinking beer inside the office. There were no drinking and no smoking signs everywhere. The manager harshly scolded at anyone who broke that rule. So it was the 6 workers' fault for disobeying, but they drank because they were stressed out by the anti-dam protesters. That's why they said things to provoke the manager. Told him to step out, and the others went along. Shut up. Typed Google. Gave up. Dived. This Google knows. construction workers toiled hard and long hours. That's why they instigated the fight with the manager, to release their stress. They expected to just curse at each other, or to end up in a wrestling match. But things escalated. Or to put it more accurately, the manager exploded all of a sudden. The manager had to deal with this resident's protests as well, so he was under just as much pressure, or maybe even more. And have you heard Ek? He is not. But now he is... but now he changed was not... How he changed was not normal. The manager was calm at first, but he gradually became more aggressive, and it was like he transformed into someone completely different. No, it was like he possessed by something evil. Educate me. They can hear JP. The man who instigated the fight sobered up when they saw his behavior. Then, the manager picked up a shovel that was nearby and tried to smash his opponent's head in with it. I just lost it again. Okay. He managed to avoid the hit, but if he didn't, his head would have surely been split open. Guess the PC is. Oh, the clip. Share the clip. The manager kept pounding on him with the shovel, even as he frantically tried to avoid the hits. By this time, the workers had realized this was beyond a simple fight, so they tried to hold the manager down. But the manager turned on them with the shovel too. One of the men tried to protect himself by crossing his arms above his head. But there was no way that could have blocked a shovel swing swung with such force. Blood spurted out, and the man groaned in pain. It's my phone, probably. I'll be able to in a minute, once I get my browser up. Sounds good. But this time, the 6 men had realized the manager was not his usual self. This manager would try to bash in their brains without hesitation. Since their opponent was using the shovel as his weapon, they had to find some kind of weapon too. One of them grabbed a huge hammer, and the others realized they needed to find something as well. To restrain the manager in that condition, it was better to arm themselves. So it just went crazy. It wasn't supposed to be this way. Wow. It didn't take that long for the madness to infect the 6 workers. It was only a matter of time before they went from restraining him to lynching him. Okay, I'm very Komodo hyped for him to hear. By the time they realized what had happened, the manager was already a lump of meat. His face was swollen. Shreds of skin had been torn off, and his muscles and skull were visible too. Obviously, he was quite dead. Fuck! He almost killed us, remember? If he hadn't attacked us, we wouldn't have fought him. Right? The leader of the 6, the one who instigated the fight, tried to bring the rest to his side, but nobody replied. And so the leader became frustrated. He was the one who started the fight. The rest simply joined in. He was the main perpetrator. Maybe that was why he was feeling so exasperated. He sensed that he was the one at fault. Okay, what's up? Hearing you say fuck is weird too. Is it? Don't just stand there like a limp noodle. It's too late. We killed him. There's nothing we can do about it. We're all murderers now. Buck up. You ain't thinking about turning yourself in and doing time, are you? Fuck you. I can't go to the slammer at my age. We're hiding it. We're hiding this corpse and pretending nothing happened. Listen carefully. Some of them knew he was on probation for an assault incident once before. So he got into trouble with the law again. The punishment would be more severe than they could imagine. That was why he was trying desperately to find a way out. Puts the ear on. He said Ek already. Yeah. There we go. We're good. If he was alone with the manager's body, then he wouldn't have behaved this way. All you have to do is hide the manager's body and pretend nothing happened. But there were 6 of them, including him. They were partners in crime and witnesses too. If even one of them turned himself in out of guilt, he'd be in big trouble. Players moving behind. I'll throw bets at you, but I have none. It's all good, Effie. Appreciate the thought. But even if we hide the body, they'll find out sooner or later. Instead, we should plead justifiable self-defense, and they might end up pardoning us. Don't be so stupid. Look what we've done. Look at his face. Who would think this is the result of self-defense? His parents wouldn't even be able to identify him in this condition. You idiot. But if we hide it, everyone's gonna find out tomorrow morning when the manager doesn't show. It's hopeless. What's hopeless is your damn brain, you shithead. He slapped the other man in the face. The leader had such an evil look in his eyes. Oh, jeez. Okay, I heard it. What is it, Ek? It's just a noise. I don't know. I'll have to share the video later. Listen well, dipshits. We're all murderers, okay? Keep griping now. We'll all get slammed with 5 or 6 years. Just one of you here, try and blab. We'll all be locked up. Don't underestimate the pen. If you're prepared to be caught anyway, then run like your life depends on it. You can resign yourself to it later when it's time to pay the piper. His visage turned more and more demonic. It was the same expression the manager had just a few minutes before. Was he possessed by the same thing that possessed the manager? The 5 men started to think that way. Now that they considered it, all the villagers in the anti-dam protests had the same expression on their faces too. The real name of Hinamizawa was Onigafuchi Village. People said that wicked demons lived there, and sometimes they possessed people. The men couldn't help but to recall that exaggerated story often told by the demonstrators. Tests. Icicles. Jesus. Okay, I'm up to date. Sounds good, Ham. Not up to date. The manager swung the shovel. Can't believe I fell for that. Thanks for the shout out, by the way. Long since given up. Famous now. Ick. The manager swung the shovel after his expressions changed to that demonic one. There was no guarantee this man wouldn't do the same. In fact, he was still squeezing the hammer in his hand, glaring at everyone, threatening them. If someone suggested surrender, he'd probably smash their head in with it. Well, I'll have you know, I used to stream. You did? Ham? When did I miss this? I know. To make sure nobody betrays the rest. Have an idea. It'll make it easier to hide the body, too. What is it? I used to stream as well. I'll probably consider streaming in the near future, too. It's like a Mitch Hedberg joke. What was the original? I used to stream. I still do, too. I was streaming until I saw JP. A beautiful man. Should be saying. Then I took an arrow to the knee. Oh. We're gonna cut a body into 6 pieces. What? They all wanted to object to the idea. Killing him was a serious crime itself. Dismembering the body would be too much. But if anyone objected, he'd be killed on the spot. So no one said anything. We'll all cut him up together. Remember what the manager used to say. Teamwork. We're all in this together. We'll each take a body part and hide it responsibly. What do you think, huh? This way we're all equally guilty, right? I won't let anyone give themselves up. The 5 men were all taken in by his ghastly face. They could even feel the fear of the Onigafuchi demons creep up their backs. Only recent alert, it meant the Skyrim dude got married. Because he got down on one knee and proposed. What? Is that true? No, right? No, it was like he was an adventurer, but then he took an arrow to the knee. So then he can't be an adventurer. Maybe that's the true story. I just never looked into it. Past the meme. Bruh, I do that, not gonna lie. What would you do? So that was 10. Okay, that was 10. Okay. See the 5-minute review, since it's so close to 2 hours. And we're a fifth of the way through. Oh shit, BRB. Lurk. Sounds good. We're all BRBing. It's fine. But yeah, thanks for the lurk, Effie. Un momento. Right on time, right? Okay, we're back. Let's take that off the screen. Move that there. Let me check. Check some things real quick. Yeah, Pride Month. Oh, there's already a blog about it. So let's see. So 300 bits, you'll permanently earn Pride-themed emotes through June 30th. Does it say though? Doesn't say how many you get. Guess we'll find out on Monday. Anyways, just totally fine. Nothing wrong with more emotes. I think we're good. Oh yeah, we never read the scary truth for today. Well, it's gonna have to wait till Sunday. Cause yeah, we usually say that for the intro. That's fine. Wonder what it was though. Alright. So that was number 10. So now my mind palace is telling me the first sacrifice. Live specimen for research is required. Tragedy at the damn construction site is required. I was half asleep, so I didn't even hear the phone ringing nearby. After a while, I finally realized the phone was ringing, and a ringing phone means there's some kind of emergency. It's 2 in the morning. Who would even call me at this time of the night? Hello, this is Irie. Sorry to bother you, Dr. Irie. It's Kano-san. She's never called me for a personal reason. At the Institute, she's ranked just below me, so she's basically responsible for running it. So for her to call me this late at night must be an emergency. Sorry it took me so long. Is it true that we have another terminal patient? Yes. I was hoping to find a living specimen, so this is perfect. Hee hee hee. I initially thought that she'd abducted someone. Oh. The man had already been moved to the research area in the clinic's basement. Having been tied down to the examination table, he's struggling against his restraints, but more as though he's deranged than actually resisting. Can't even understand what he's saying. He sounds angry, sorrowful, like a child throwing a tantrum all at once. It's obvious that he's not in the right state of mind. Anyway, let's put him under anesthesia. He might kill himself otherwise. I wanted to observe him a little longer, but I guess I had no other choice. One of the staff with a white gown got the anesthesia ready. Even a normal person would struggle to escape a restraining table in this suspicious room. But this man's behavior is at an abnormal level. I'm sure Okanogi-san and his friends from the Mountain Dogs are the ones who captured him. Capturing a man in this state of mind couldn't have been an easy task. According to Takano, she ran to this patient on her way home from the clinic by accident. She brought him back here, tested him, and the result came back positive. Of course, I have no intention of just believing what she's telling me. But there is no question that this man is at the terminal stage, and a live specimen is exactly what we need to research the syndrome. Who is this man, anyway? He had something wrapped in a newspaper. What do you think was in it? What is this? Something wrapped in a bloody newspaper on a tray nearby. Looking at the blood-drenched paper, I can only imagine there was something gruesome inside of it. Yet Takano-san looked like she wanted to surprise me with something interesting. Oh, God, this is awful. It's bloody right arm. The man on the table still has his. This right arm doesn't belong to him. So who does it belong to? I'm used to looking at things like this as a doctor, but the horrible cross-section makes me want to look away. It wasn't done according to a medically acceptable method, that's for sure. It was obviously done out of cruelty. Judging by the situation, we can assume this man cut off this arm. Hehehe. So he's the culprit behind the body dumping that's been occurring in the neighborhood? At that point, there is no way of knowing who the right arm belonged to. But the next morning, the dismemberment murder of the damn construction site director was reported. And they mentioned that his right arm was still missing, so he learned who the arm belonged to. This man has a criminal record, and he's on probation. Yet he committed another crime. Yet he dismantled the body in order to hide it. Sure, it depends on the circumstances, but he'll get more than just a few years in prison. Hehe. So you won't hesitate to dissect a scumbag like him, right? Who knows? Maybe he was a scumbag before and became violent due to the syndrome. Or maybe he had gone straight, but became violent again due to the syndrome. The former is one thing, but if it's the latter case, it's not his fault. That's why Hinamizawa syndrome is so terrifying. You can't tell if the syndrome is the cause of the crime, or if it's simply a problem of human nature. But what causes the defect of human nature in the first place? That's precisely EDA's area of research. Hate the crime, not the criminal. Can criminals only be corrected by punishing them with imprisonment? If a person commits a crime because of a mental disorder but then gets a treatment, he is corrected. In other words, there are no crimes in this world, only patients awaiting treatment without anyone else being able to understand them. In medieval times, patients with mental disorders were said to be possessed by demons, and they were either confined or killed. Centuries after, they were finally acknowledged as mentally ill people who needed treatment. Perception can change with time. Even if they're called criminals now, maybe after several centuries, those criminals will be acknowledged as patients who are entitled to appropriate treatment. Explaining crimes through illness instead of malice. That's my life's work. Hinamizawa syndrome is a strange disease that can support my theory. Solving its mysteries is extremely important to me. To solve those mysteries, I need a medical sacrifice. It's an extremely simple thing to do, but there's no way to unravel this without it. No cost too great. The EDA Institute was authorized to take such drastic measures if necessary. That's why I was asked about it so many times when I accepted the position of director. And finally, the opportunity is here. This will be the first step of our research on this strange disease. But even now, I'm a little hesitant. I've opened up my human bodies in many surgeries. What I'll be doing on this man is something very similar. There's also something that's very different. What I did before was part of treatment. I did it to save the patients' lives. I did it so the patients could have a better future. What I'm trying to do here isn't treatment. He will die at the end of it. His death will be far from humane. I'm gonna violate nature and force him to stay alive while I open up his living brain. Director EDA? Are you listening? Sorry. Could you repeat that? I believe it best that we submit the dissection proposal to Tokyo and request their assistance. He's not only alive, he's also in the terminal stage, so he's an extremely important specimen. We must conduct that dissection very carefully. That's true. You're right. Let's do as you say. I think we'll have a few days before the dissection, so I want to run some reaction tests once he's off the anesthetic. Do you think that's safe? Even if he's restrained, we don't know what will happen. What's up, Gus? We finally have the opportunity to test a live specimen. We can't only look into his brain. Hehehe. Takano-san's unusual cheerfulness made me feel odd. Maybe her reaction is normal. Maybe I'm the one who's not reacting normally in this situation. I'm here only for the research, so I should be excited to have the opportunity to perform our first live dissection. But I'm still hesitant. How can I call myself a researcher? Researchers of the past were brave enough to cross the line. That's how they accomplished many things. Anyways. I've seen many brains. I've operated on them. I've lost some patients too. But I never thought anything of it because I knew I did the right thing. Even when my hard work was denied afterwards. It pained me to think of that, and I just needed to advance the field of medicine to ensure their deaths weren't wasted. That's the true form of those advancing the field of medicine. Yet, why was my heart tormented so much just by changing the name from treatment to dissection? Does it mean I'm not man enough to emulate those great men of the past who opened the doors to new medicine? That I don't have the power to develop new advances myself? JP, do you ever get that feeling like, you know, I haven't posted in your chat in a while and you just expect me to come back to do something random before lurking again? Like that feeling of anticipation? Sometimes, maybe. I'm patient. I can wait. Because it's been too quiet. You get suspicious. Sometimes. But it depends, I guess, if I'm focused somewhere else. Hey, what's the matter, Director? Are you feeling okay? Takano was pretending to be concerned about me, but she knows. She knows I'm still hesitating. She's telling me that I should be ashamed, as a researcher, for feeling that way. What is that face? Oh god. Licks lips? Oh man. Shake my head to clear it of sleepiness. But I remember the resolve brought me here to this day. I already have blood on my hands. But if I stop now, their lives will be wasted. Those who shed their blood can only rest in peace once they become the cornerstones of great research. I shook my head once more and reminded myself that I'm a researcher. No. I was just thinking. Takano-san, please make some arrangement with Tokyo. Let me know when it's done. Okay, understood. He. This is really exciting. The least I can do is my best, so his life won't be wasted. If he bleeds, I can't waste even a drop of his blood. After scolding my staff for their indiscretion of discussing this dissection with such excitement, I returned to my office. Poor Ryudia. So that was that one. Where's the next one? I don't see it. It has to be there. Because that's one. Is it whispering? It's weird. But don't tell me that this is like inaccurate. There's 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I can't see it. Where is it? Looking for 12. It's not in the first page. Not in the second. Oh, there it is. Jesus. Okay. Alright, you know, like, sometimes I'm blind and I can't see. Alright, we're fine. Okay. Let's scroll that. There we go. Alright. My mind palace tells me that it's the old guy. The death of the damn construction site manager is required. I should have saved after finishing the first turn. That's fine. I don't know what to say. I want to say something, but I can't think of the right words. I can only sigh. Ah, Luishi-san. I've been looking for you. The section manager asked me about the wanted poster. Be quiet. This is a place of rest. As Kumagai barged into the room, the old coroner quickly snapped back at him. Sorry. The section manager asked me about the wanted poster for the suspect. Ah. Can you talk to Komiyame-kun about that? I need to speak to the coroner here. Could you tell him I'll be right over? Okay. Also, hold on. Put that there. Okay. Kumagai ran out of the autopsy room with the same haste he entered in. Lively, isn't he? The old man would have slapped him for making such a fuss. Probably should go back too. The errand here isn't for people who aren't used to it. You're right. If I slack off too long, I might get slapped as well. You're in Shishiba and all the hoodlums cross the street when you pass through, yet he's the only one past or future who's ever punched you for splitting your sumo wrong. He really was a merciless man. I think he punched me more than my real father. Doesn't matter if he was your real one or not. If you looked up to him in the same way, then he really was a father to you. My real father passed away in Nagoya. He was unlucky. If he wasn't given the order to move to a plant in Nagoya, he wouldn't have died in an air raid. If he could have rode it out another half a year or so, then the war would have been over. I was sad, of course, but I was grown up enough by then that I didn't cry into the ground like my mother did. But people feel sadness in different ways. For some people it comes out all at once as an overwhelming wave, but others feel sadness gradually, over a long period of time. I think I was the latter. When he was alive, I only thought of him as annoying. In my mind, I even cursed him with questions about why he avoided the draft. I thought my feelings towards him would always be the same. And the war ended. As I saw families and friends being reunited with joy as they came home from the front, it finally happened. I grieved for my father's death. Japan was filled with people who were sad and full of despair. I knew I wasn't the only one whose life ended up that way. But I remember I was very, very heartbroken. After the war, the nation completely changed. As a policeman, the environment I worked in went through sudden changes too. In order to forget my sorrow, the only thing I could do was devote myself to my work. At the time, I was in charge of busting people for buying rice illegally. I conducted spot checks on travelers at major train stations. And boy, did I find a lot of them. There was a fairly big black market in Gogura, and a lot of people came from as far as Osaka to buy it. After the war, Japan faced a chronic shortage in food supply. To those ends, the nation instituted a food rationing program by signing the Food Control Act. But the rations the government provided weren't even close to being enough to feed families. Therefore, people had no choice other than buying food and supplies on the black market. The government hardly had enough food for rations, but there was somehow plenty on the black market. The dealers there sold it at outrageous prices, and some of them became quite wealthy. The Sonozaki family made their money through that black market, but that's another story. The government didn't bother arresting these dealers, for with their money, they were able to buy off the top members of the police department. Instead, they decided to go after the people buying the goods, even confiscated the rice they bought by selling everything they owned. Yeah, I remember that. Wasn't there a prosecutor who starved himself to death? Yeah, there was. The prosecutor who vowed not to eat illegal rice starved to death. Wasn't it in 1947? That was horrible. He, a public prosecutor, proved to himself that people couldn't survive by adhering to the law. That prosecutor had grown tired of the government charging people with doing whatever they could to survive. And he proclaimed that he was never going to buy black market rice again. In 1947, he starved to death when he was only in his mid-30s. The law prohibited people from buying black market rice, but that was the only way to survive. In that case, was the Food Control Act a bad law itself? The death of the prosecutor was seen as a desperate message to the government about the unjustness of that law. We rounded up people with bags of rice and lined them up at the temporary inspection point next to the station. It was like a military tribunal. We inspected their bags and confiscated everything that they bought at the black market. The women all cried. They sold everything they owned to buy the rice. They pleaded that if we confiscated the rice, how would they feed their starving children? Doesn't make sense, huh? Yet they forbade you from going after the sellers, so it was absolutely unfair from the view of the people. Everyone was on edge. They heard a police inspection was set up at the next station. They'd jump off the train and run. We were aware of these people, so we set up several officers near jump-off spots in order to capture them. I remember chasing after women carrying several kilos of rice on them. That was when I first met the old man. Man, I was surprised. Remember my father? He looked exactly like him. I really thought that maybe my father had miraculously survived the air raid in Nagoya. I was chasing a man who was running away from the inspection point. There was no way for him to run with a heavy bag of rice on him. So either he'd get arrested with the illegal rice or escape by ditching the rice that he bought by selling all of his belongings. In other words, if a person is being chased by the police, that person can't provide his family any rice to eat. Of course, I felt guilty about that. I knew people had to buy the rice to survive, so we had a tacit agreement to let those who ditched the rice and ran get away. So I always thought the same thing as I chased them. Please throw it away. I didn't want to catch him, because I didn't want to hear him crying and pleading in distress. It was then that the old man showed up. He looked exactly like my dead father. I was dumbfounded. Then, all of a sudden, he punched me in the head. If father disciplines you, as a child, you lower your head in apology. I was so happy to see my father alive that I couldn't hold my joy in. The old man said, "Let him go." When I heard his voice, I realized he wasn't my father, so I thought I'd arrest him for assaulting a policeman. But a young man like me, who'd barely grown any hairs yet, was no match for an older man used to fighting. Yeah, sure taught me a lesson. Gave me a good scolding in the middle of the street after I was all beat up. Who would even listen to him, right? Something struck me then. I kept seeing my father in him. All I could do was listen. Yeah, he was a ruffian, but he showed his guts, like a real man. That's what made him such a great guy. You don't see men like him nowadays. He was a true example of a man from the good old times. Despite my age, I still needed a father. I needed someone to look up to show me what makes a man a man. When I think about it, I really did have two fathers. The old man was a father, a brother, and a best friend. But now, here he lies with his head, body, arms, and legs all dismembered, and his right arm hasn't been found. Taught me how to be a man, how to enjoy alcohol, how to play mahjong, and with that right arm he gave me a good beating when I did something wrong. But that right arm is still missing. Do you have any suspects? Yeah, of course. I swear I'll find the old man's right arm and pay them back for what they've done to him. They're running Hinamizawa from the shadows and inciting this collective crime they call the damn protests. The Sonozaki family. I declare war within myself. I already know who my enemy is. Poor Oishi. So now my mind palace is telling me that we go to research is going well. An L5 stage patient's dissection is required. Help from the Queen Carrier is required. Furude-san, thank you for waiting. We just finished the last test. She'll be back soon. Hope she's able to help. Of course, Rika-san will help the whole village. I think we'll be able to come up with a treatment soon. We're still looking into the structure, but we're finding out how important Rika-san is to the villagers. People with more serious conditions can't stabilize themselves. But we found out if they get close to the Queen Carrier, they generate some kind of substance in their brain. The substance has a calming effect, and it seems to have the power to bring their symptoms down. If we can produce this substance, it'll end up making for a powerful treatment. I see. Rika has that kind of power. Hehe. You shouldn't be surprised. People say that maidens of the Furude Shrine have the psychic power to calm both souls and demons, don't they? Even before we discovered it, it was already recorded in the history of the last few hundred years. That's true. I'm impressed with how wise people were back then. Neat. The tests are all done. Rika, good work. You must be getting tired. Why don't you take this and go get something to drink? Neat. Took a lot of my blood, so I need to replenish. Rika took the 100 yen coin that was offered to her and ran out into the hallway. I appreciate Rika-san's help. If she hadn't offered her assistance, our research wouldn't have progressed this far. Rika is very concerned about her friend with the syndrome. Said she wants to help because of her. Doctor, Please take Rika's feelings into account. What's up, Effie? Of course. We're taking up her precious time every Sunday. So we'll make sure to get to the bottom of this. We have to put her through some rather rough experiments, but I hope you'll understand. We'll never harm her in any way, though. She's such an important person. Hehe, she's the reincarnation of Orisho-sama, after all. I wonder how people back then found out about this syndrome, and how they knew the Furude family were the descendants of the queen. I was really impressed. By the way, there's something I have to ask you. I would like to ask you for permission to collect her cerebrospinal fluid. Also, there's a chance that we'll have to drill a hole in her skull to examine the inside of her head. Jesus. A hole in her skull? Of course, we'll take every precaution. Rika-san is the one and only queen carrier. We'll make sure that she's safe. Her safety is our priority. Of course, since Rika-chan is a girl, we won't shave her entire head. However, we'll have to ask her to stay at the clinic a little longer so we can keep our eyes on her. She can still receive visitors, of course. You're more than welcome to attend the examination. I'm sure she'll be more relaxed to have someone she knows nearby. Do you really need to perform this examination? Is it really safe? Can't absolutely guarantee her safety for either collecting cerebrospinal fluid or for drilling a hole in her skull. There's always the off chance something might go wrong. Also, Rika-san may suffer from some physical and emotional discomfort. Even if it's this important, we can't perform it without the parents' consent. Yeah. What's up, Pam? Actually, I've already talked to Rika-chan about it. What did she say? She said it's fine. Hehe. Having dinner? What are you eating? What are you consuming, Ham? Last night we had a meatloaf. Some mashed potatoes. It's pretty good. Although I found my, yeah. There you go. I found a... I don't know. Maybe it's the sauce. We'll change the sauce. Consuming some... Yeah. Can't. Maybe we should make this channel points. 10,000. I explained to her the possibility of danger, but we still need your consent. Sometimes Rika truly believes that she's the reincarnation of Orisho-sama, so maybe she feels obligated to sacrifice herself for the villagers. Boo-woo? Yes, please. What'd I miss? Not much, clone. How's it going? What an impressive child. You missed some Lurk. That sounds good, Ham. Need to buy groceries today. Some. Let's make it a thing now. It puts a strain on my voice, you know? The fuck? What clone? You ain't never heard of before? Anyways. I can't believe that the whole stream manager thing was completely my fault. I just didn't realize it could work like that. It's so weird though. Anyways, it's fine. No? I'll post the video in Discord later. Where I got it from. Customer board. The things we do live. Okay. I'm waiting for it to load now. Let's do this face. For that. Actually, should it be the other one? Should be the other one. Where is it? There it is. 56. 112. Okay, 1 second while it's tight. It has been created. It is now available. We did it. If I didn't do it now, it probably wouldn't have been done later. Motivation. Could you please let me talk to my wife? She understands the situation, but I still need to explain it to her. Sure, of course. Please talk it over with her. So this examination is an extremely important step in the process of stamping out the syndrome, right? Yes. It will solve the mysteries of Hinamizawa syndrome for sure. At least it'll be the first step. As I already explained, if something happens to the Queen Carrier, the whole community here may be in danger. In other words, it's possible the whole village could end up with terminal symptoms. That's right. According to the studies, within 48 hours of the death of the Queen Carrier, everyone with the disease will become dangerously sick. We must prevent that from happening, no matter what. If something happens to Rika, the whole village will go insane. Yes, it's our job to prevent that. It might seem ironic that we have to put your daughter in danger, but this is the only way to stamp out the syndrome. Dr. Irie, I hope you will succeed in that examination. As I said, there are no guarantees in medicine. Sure. Irie answered with a nod, interrupting Takano's vague response. I will succeed. We'll save Rika-san. And the villagers too. I promise. Okay. I'll talk to my wife. Let you know our decision. Yes. Thank you. What is she laughing about? After Rika and her friend and her father left, Takano started to laugh. What is it? What's so funny? Oh, nothing. I just thought it was amusing to get permission from both the patient and her parents beforehand. Rika-chan is going through something she doesn't have to. Thought I should as a courtesy. Would have gotten consent from the man last year had he been in a normal condition. Are you being tormented with guilt ever since you started your research here? What do you mean? This type of teasing was normal from Takano, but maybe she had gone a little too far. Irie made it clear how displeased he was to hear that. You can only research Hinamizawa syndrome by using live beings. Feel guilty continuing your work because of that. Those guilty feelings are a necessity. Whether it's a murder or dissection, the fact that you're taking someone's life is the same. We have to accept that, and at the same time devote ourselves to our research. That's an extremely impressive theory you have there. Then, Dr. Irie, how many times have you gotten consent before you cut into people's brains? Irie didn't think Takano knew about that. How many brains have you cut up without consent, using your selfish theory that people commit crimes due to mental disorders as your excuse? That is... Common sense changes with time. Back then, doctors didn't need to explain anything or get consent beforehand. So I don't think you have to be concerned about the past. It would be a problem now, but it was okay back then. So that's fine. But you feel guilty, and that's why you want to get consent from Rika-chan beforehand. And why you wanted to get it from him, right? It's not true. In the first place, the treatment and dissection are... Morning and happy Friday. Work lurking, but hope you have a great time today. Sounds good, Smithery. Hope you have a good day at work. Appreciate the lurk. Listen, boy. What you want is the stamp of forgiveness known as prior consent, right? What you want is some stamp of forgiveness, some deception to fill your heart so you can atone for your past sins. If you regretted what you've done, then you never get involved with brains again. Yet you're dragging regrets behind as you continue to deal with brains, guilty all the while. If you truly acknowledge your actions as a sin, then you would have refused to accept that appointment as director. Isn't that right, boy? Jesus. What's up with Takano? I don't need to listen to this. Excuse me. You must listen. The field of medicine is constantly won in battles against that era's ethics and social values. When Dr. Takano discovered the existence of the syndrome, people in power at the time just disregarded their own ignorance and scoffed at his foresight. But he didn't stop researching until he collapsed. He believed that someday he'd be acknowledged. Even if it was after he died, he still believed in it. He could do that only because of how strong his conviction was. If it wasn't for that, he would have given up. Strong will is what keeps research going. Only the most determined can achieve a result, but you don't have that. You're a coward who still can't decide if you should be proud or ashamed of his achievements. How could you accept that position of director with such half-hearted determination? I knew from the beginning that this research couldn't be brought to fruition without adding further blood to your already stained hands. I don't know what to say. Maybe I am half-hearted. Then why don't you resign? You still have the obligation to keep things secret, but at least you won't have to feel guilty anymore. You may be my partner, but you're also simply a person who was requested by my client. Now that this research institute is fully developed, you aren't needed. If you don't even have the necessary determination to do research to begin with, you're an especially useless partner. I'll never quit researching. Not afraid of guilt or regret. My conviction is what will take me to the future. Just like Dr. Chikano succeeded, I'll succeed alone. That's impressive. However, though my determination may not come close to yours, I too have a will. That's why I'm here. As you said, I already have blood on my hands. After I arrived at Inawazawa, they got even bloodier, so I can't just run from my responsibilities. I'll probably continue to be tormented by my unatoned sins, but I won't run. I'll get to the bottom of Inawazawa syndrome. That's the least I can do for all the people who gave their lives for this research, and also for those who will give their lives from now on. Hideo wore a determined look on his face. He appeared different from even a moment before, when he was baffled by Takano having brought up those painful memories. For a short while, Hideo's eyes displayed a strong will, then he turned around. We'll probably get consent for Rika-chan's examination, so please start preparing for it. Yes, I understand, Director. They got their consent the following week. Is Takano being all aggressive? Being so malicious. So that was 13. Research is going well. So then my mind palace is telling me a routine inspection. Prior consent for the collection of cerebrospinal fluids is required. Do I do this one? I mean, we do this one, but I mean, like, do we save? I think we do save. Just because it's been a bit. So page 3, 14. The lights came on in the meeting room as the slideshow ended, and all the auditors began to applaud, praising the Ch.8 Institute's dramatic accomplishments. Wonderful! Absolutely wonderful. To be honest with you, I wasn't expecting too much from this Hinamizawa syndrome research. I figured that even if there was progress, it would be 3 steps forward and 2 steps back every decade. Oh my! How impressive it is to achieve so much in such a short period of time. This is all thanks to you, Director Ch.8. Oh no. This is all because of the staff that supported me and Takano-san too. Don't be so humble. Hee hee hee. Director Ch.8 is a genius in the field of neurology. After all, he's also produced greater achievements than any other director when it comes to the brain. That's true. Not many doctors as young as you have nearly as much experience operating on brains. Congratulations, Lieutenant Colonel Ch.8. Now I can go back to Tokyo with my head held high. I'm honored we gave you something good to take back with you, Tomitake-san. By the way, could you please stop calling me Lieutenant Colonel? I just can't get used to it. I almost prefer Risa-san at this point. Hahaha. Bet you do, huh? Hee. Sure were a huge help. You're the one who secured funding for our research even when we couldn't produce feasible results. Couldn't have done this without you. Wasn't any trouble. Hahaha. Really, the results you presented today are just brilliant. Not only have you found the cause of the syndrome, you also provided a clear path towards future research. Looking forward to hearing more progress when we come again next time. I'm sure the Tokyo office will quit bothering us about cutting your budget with these sorts of results. Hee. After all, we nearly lost our budget for the canned coffee we provided to you all, didn't we? Bwahahaha. Tomitake-kun, make sure you report your progress to Tokyo well enough that they give us enough funding to hold a party. We've been getting nothing but the stick. It's time for the carrot. We'll be happiest if that carrot comes back in the shape of funding. And with that congenial atmosphere, our routine audit was over. ADA was surrounded and being questioned by National Institute of Infectious Diseases workers who had joined the auditors. Takano-san, congratulations! Can't really say this out loud, but all the progress I've seen tonight is thanks to your hard work. Hee. Thank you, Jiro-san. Jiro-san and I are the only ones who know that strings were pulled in order to create the IDEA Institute. So only Jiro-san could understand what I had to go through. But I've only just risen to the stage for my research. My opponent and I are finally on the same arena, that's all. The critical fight comes after this. And it should be getting even more exciting in the future. By the way, Manager Nakagawa told me to tell you that he wants you to hold a presentation in Tokyo. Even the Alphabet Board wants you to come meet with them. Guess they all want to hear this directly from you. Oh my, isn't having you explain enough? No, I don't think that's what they mean. I bet they want to meet such pretty researcher. They want to meet such pretty researcher in person, maybe. My, aren't you being silly, Jiro-san? Hee. Excuse me. Major Takano, there's a phone call for you from Tokyo. Thank you for holding. This is Takano. Hey, how are you doing? Koizumi-sensei. Thank you for taking the time to call me. Well, you know, I heard you made a significant breakthrough, Mio-chan. So I had to call to congratulate you. Thank you very much. Yes, thanks to your support, we've been able to accomplish the first step of identifying the microbe that causes Hinamizawa syndrome. I see. Great job, Mio-chan. I'm sure Takano-kun is very happy in heaven right now. It's a little too early to say. Grandfather was attempting to go beyond merely identifying the cause of the syndrome. His work was about showing the possibility of human thoughts actually being controlled by parasitic agents in our bodies. Only when that is proven will his research be recognized for the great achievement it is. Hee. When we're able to explain all thoughts and volitions with parasites, the world is going to be tossed into chaos. Wow, how interesting. You can just imagine how those religious big shots will react once they find out that their leaders are parasites. How interesting. I'd love to see that. I won't die until you show that to me, Mio-chan. Please don't say that. We look forward to it, though. Make sure that this research will spread shock throughout the world. Then the whole world will finally realize how great my grandfather was, and they'll be fighting each other to read over the documents he left behind. Only then can I say that I've repaid my debt to him. I'm a little envious of Takano-kun. I don't want money, you know. I don't mind getting rid of half of what I have. I just wish I had a grandchild who would carry on my legacy. Thank you so much. Those words mean so much to me. By the way, I sent you a present. It's a nice bottle of wine for you to celebrate with. Didn't know your address, so I sent it to the clinic. However, they told me they're having a difficult time importing it, so it may take a little while. When it comes, please have a party with the people who helped you. Celebratory wine? Well then, I wonder what expensive sort of drink Koizumi-sensei will be sending us. Well, it's not that kind of expensive. Don't you remember, Mio-chan? Takano-kun used to keep a particular bottle of wine. I remember. That's right, my grandfather kept a certain bottle of wine. I don't know if he bought it himself or someone gave it to him, but he treasured it, and he always said he'd open it when his research finally gained recognition. I was a child then, so I don't even remember what brand it was, but Mr. Koizumi would know. He went through all the trouble to find the same bottle of wine for this special occasion. For the first time in a while, Takano felt the same sunny warmth she experienced during her time with her grandfather. Thank you very much, Uncle Koizumi. I like how you call me that, Mio-chan. I don't feel like you're speaking to me when you say Koizumi-sensei. Can't help but smile along with him, because I think Tomitaka and Irie were just having a similar exchange. If you like it that way, then I'll be happy to call you that when there's nobody around. I'll be happy if you call me that even if in front of people. Don't know exactly how old he is, but if he can laugh so energetically, he'll live for many more years to come. Guess this thing about living a long life is true after all. Takano-kun and I both wished you were truly part of our family. We really did. My grandfather had his own family, of course. But because he was so into his research, he became estranged from his wife. They were legally married, but they lived separately. Never met his family when I was a child. I only met them after my grandfather committed suicide. What? During his latter years, my grandfather went into psychological despair. He began to look at his life with cynicism. His condition became worse over time, and he was shocked at his own dementia. He was afraid of living while his consciousness degraded. So, he jumped off the rooftop of the hospital. Only my name was in his suicide note. None of his family members' names were in it. That's when all his relatives showed up and took everything my grandfather left behind. They were afraid I was going to get his estate. They had lawyers and all that, so I backed down. I asked for everything in his study in return. Those idiots don't understand the value of my grandfather's research. They were actually happy to strike a deal out of court, and they could also get rid of the piles of papers and jars with human organs in them. They never even showed up once when he was alive, yet like hyenas they appeared after his death. Never let them put their hands all over my grandfather's research. Fortunately, I was able to protect my grandfather's soul from their tainted hands. Okay, I'll get going here. If there's anything you need, be sure to call Uncle Koizumi, okay? I'll do anything for my granddaughter. Thank you, Uncle Koizumi. Work even harder. Well, now I know what happened to her. So that was routine inspection. So that's 14. Okay. So next up is where is it? Okay. My mind palace tells me that this one. Soshi Hojo. When I asked Rika-chan, she said Satoko might have possibly gone to the mountain behind the shrine. She's fond of going there. That mountain is covered in with trees, vines, and fallen logs. She really likes the area. Any child will dream of having a secret base. And to Satoko, her secret base is the whole mountain. However, the mountains were undeveloped territory, making them a dangerous place that was easy to get lost in. As her brother, I'm a little concerned that she spends so much time on it. But maybe I should worry more about myself getting lost since I rarely come here. The mountain gets dark quickly when evening falls. If I still can't find her, I should look for her somewhere else. Satoko, yelling as loud as I can, but in the woods, my voice doesn't carry that well. According to Rika-chan, she has been making her secret base in this area. She goes up there alone to expand it. What does she mean by expand it? If it's a secret base, she must not want anyone to find it. Does that mean she set up some traps? Considering that, I should have noticed the traps on the mountain before one got me. What? Suddenly my foot sunk into the ground and snagged on something like a jump rope tied beneath dried leaves. I heard some noise from up above, and then a big ball made of branches fell right next to me. It had to be one of the playful traps that Satoko loved. If I wasn't so lucky, I'm sure the ball would have hit my head. Oh my, look who's here. It's you, Nini. Satoko. No, this kind of horseplay is dangerous. Did you not see the sign put up by the Forestry Service? It clearly states it's dangerous to come into these woods. My wonderful traps will welcome anyone who ignores that warning. Oh ho ho ho. As her brother, I should stop her from doing things like this. But when I see her brilliant smiles, I can't say anything else. I haven't seen that smile in some time. By the way, Satoko, weren't you told to come home by evening, since we're going out for dinner tonight? I don't want to go. Why don't our mother and father go by themselves? If you want to, you can go with them, Nini. You're still angry at father? He threw an ashtray at me. No, that happened with our previous father. The current one hasn't done that yet. Looks He locked me out on the veranda. Did feed me lunch. He complained I got him the wrong brand of cigarettes. Then he slapped my face saying I shouldn't be a picky eater. And then... She isn't talking about our current stepfather. Things about all of our different stepfathers have mixed themselves up in her head. Every time our mother remarried, we had to call a different man our father. The word father isn't a word that should be taken lightly. If you don't truly acknowledge a man as your father, how can you call him that? It's how much weight it carries. However, just to make things smooth and peaceful, I used the word father, even if I didn't want to. But it was too difficult for Satoko, young as she was, to do the same. Ever since Satoko was very little, she's been having troubles with all her stepfathers. She's never opened up to our current one. To Satoko, a father figure is no longer someone she can trust. It's true that her current stepfather doesn't have any experience being a parent, so he sometimes gets rather upset with her. But ever since the incident where Satoko called the child abuse hotline, her stepfather regretted his mistakes and tried his best to communicate with her. Even my mother realized how much Satoko has suffered emotionally when it was pointed out by the social worker. She's doing her part in trying to bring Satoko back into the family. But Satoko completely refuses to even try. It's understandable though. Her childhood has been filled with misery. Satoko can only open up to me. That's why I have to be the one and only family member she can trust. Otherwise, she'll be all alone in this world. But a brother and a sister alone can't be considered a family. Even if we don't get along now, if we continue to communicate, even in a small way, we may be able to become a real family someday. Satoko, current stepfather is getting nicer. He says he wants to make up with you. That's news to me. That's because every time he tries to say something, you run away. He wants to talk to you. He says he won't make you eat pumpkin anymore. That's a lie. He said I couldn't leave until I ate my pumpkin, and he tied me to the chair. Again, she isn't talking about her current stepfather. Satoko, just come home with me, okay? Mother got a free dinner coupon. We don't want it to go to waste, do we? We already have the reservation, so we have to go today. Why don't you go, Nini? I prefer staying home alone. Satoko usually doesn't stay out playing this late. She knows we're going out, that's why she's out here alone. Although I want to snap at Satoko, I controlled myself. Because she only has me. Can't scare her. Please, let's go home, Satoko. You don't have to decide to go or not right now. You can think about it after we get there. Besides, without your help, I can't find my way down the mountain. Nini, I brought you here so many times already, yet you still haven't learned? What am I going to do with you, Nini? Satoko holds out her hand. She often says she's embarrassed to hold my hand in front of people, but she's holding out her hand right now. I took that hand. Satoko's fragile hand. I have to protect her as her big brother. Let's go home, Satoko. Sure. So that was Satoshi Hojo. Okay. Well, now we go on to Satoko Hojo. Someone's taking a shower. My name is Satoko Hojo. The Hojo is my current father's family name. He was also Satoko Hatake, Satoko Yoshizawa, and also Satoko Matsura because of my previous fathers. Still not used to being called Hojo-san. If someone calls me Satoko, then I know that person is talking to me. Because Satoko was the name I've been using since I was born. I don't understand why my mother keeps getting married and divorced. If she's gonna get a divorce, why does she get married? If she's married, why does she get a divorce? I've asked her before, but depending on the situation, her answers were different. When I asked her when she was married, she got angry. When I asked her after she got divorced, she cried. I don't understand the meaning of marriage, so I have no interest in drawing pictures of the bride in a wedding dress. I don't think I'll ever get married. I don't want to keep changing my child's last name. My teacher once asked if I liked my mother. I think it was when I was in kindergarten in Okonomiya. That was a very difficult question, Because sometimes I loved her very much, and sometimes I hated her very much. Couldn't decide. When my mother was nice, she smiled all the time. She made us happy. She thanked me for being her daughter. When my mother wasn't nice, she frowned all the time. She treated my brother and me very poorly. She told me I should have never been born. My teacher asked me if I liked my father. That was a very easy question, because I always hated him very much, no matter who he was. The new fathers always treated me nicely at first, as if I was their real daughter. They always told me I could think of them as my real father. They couldn't be my real father. Besides, I didn't even know my real father's face. How could I call them my father? I couldn't. That was disgusting. Right before divorce, my father always became very irritated with me. They treated me like a cockroach. Well, they told me they didn't have money to feed me. They threw things at me. They locked me out on the veranda. Don't I have No, I don't. Okay. Well, I was told I could forget about them because that was all in the past. I think that was a different teacher from a different school. Maybe that's true. Because ever since Hojo became my father, my mother has been smiling. Haven't seen them get into a fight as I've seen happen just before divorce. They have little arguments here and there, but those don't lead to a divorce, and they always make up. But I'm sure they'll get a divorce sooner or later. Then it'll be the same old stuff with the family court, divorce settlements, a night flight, and child support. So who knows how long this Hojo will be my father. That's why I don't feel like calling him that. He also treated me well at first, but when I didn't call him father even after he asked me repeatedly, he became irritated. They'll get a divorce soon. When my father gets into this mood, divorce is on the way. After a divorce, it's my mother's turn to be irritated with me. Then she'll tell me she shouldn't have had me, or she can't be happy because of me. Why is my existence causing problems for my mother? I asked my brother and he told me, if you have children, it's not easy to find someone to get married with. To my mother, remarriage is a very important job, so I can understand having children around will cause problems. I think I finally understand the reason why I'm a nuisance to her. I asked my brother something else. Why are children hated by new fathers? Well, that's simple. That's because family members all have different roles. Mother's job is to love her children. Father's job is to love the mother. That means I'm a nuisance to both my mother and my father. My brother is more mature than me, so they don't look down on him as a nuisance. But maybe I am. No, I'm definitely a nuisance. So now I know. Both my mother and father want me dead. But if they kill me, they'll be caught. That doesn't mean they won't kill me. Oh shit. If I were to look down the cliff, if no one was around, my mother and father would push me off for sure. My father has become abnormally nice to me recently. He started to act that way ever since I made the fake call. Now for sure that's part of a plot to kill me. So I won't let them trick me. I'm sorry. Lately, when I listen very carefully, I can hear a voice apologizing. The voice sounds similar to mine. Mother must be telling her that she shouldn't have been born. I'm sorry. But I won't apologize like that. I'll live. I'm gonna strike back. Kill before I get killed. I'm sorry. Well, there it is. There's the big reveal for Satoka. So that was... whoops. Do I have to click on OBS? Okay, I do. So that was Satoka Hojo. Then my mind pulse tells me the Hojo siblings. Conflict between the Hojo family and the Sonozaki family is required. Self-introduction of Satoka Hojo is required. Okay. What time is it? 8:33. Okay. The Hojo family is well known for going against the whole village during the dam conflict. But the husband and the wife were rather aggressive, and they fought a fierce battle, especially against the Sonozaki family. Although the whole village treated them coldly, the husband and wife didn't really care, kept on fighting. In a way, they were extremely strong-willed people. Sure, their children had to go through a lot because of them, though. Satoko-chan and Satoshi-kun were treated coldly by the villagers as well. In addition to that, Satoko-chan and her stepfather didn't get along, so their stress levels must have reached their limit. Because I'm the director of the local clinic, a rather respected member of society, people usually tell me a lot of things. So I was aware of the treatment they were receiving even before I met them. I met Satoshi-kun first. Satoshi-kun came to the clinic because he felt ill from too much stress. Must have thought he had a cold. When I examined him, he didn't tell me that. But hearing his repeated sighs and by seeing the exhausted look in his eyes, I knew right away it wasn't just a simple cold. Medication would heal its symptoms. That'd only be a temporary measure. The only way to truly cure him would be to change his living environment. But that was easier said than done. He was surrounded by tangled and complicated relationships with the village and his family, so just resting for a few days, taking some medication wouldn't do. Time was the only thing that could ease off the cold treatment from the villagers, but we were talking a very, very long time. So I felt I had to be their first ally in this village, so I could rescue them. I couldn't do anything about his stressful environment, but I could try to diminish the anxiety. So I thought the best way was to teach him how to vent his stress. Playing sports is the best way to do that, so I asked him to join the junior baseball team that I coach. As a researcher, I devote most of my time to Hinamizawa syndrome, but I too need to do something else to relax. I used to play baseball, so I decided to coach the local kids' team. After a while, the children of Hinamizawa started their own baseball team, and somehow became their coach. Doctors can't provide health just by giving medication. You need a sound mind and a sound body. I believe health can be maintained through sports as well. But our team needed more people, so I thought of asking Satoshi-kun to join. Being a bookworm, Satoshi-kun wasn't interested in playing sports. He wasn't sure how joining the baseball team would help his situation. I didn't need to go on and on about the athletic medicine to explain why sports help people become healthy. I just wanted him to experience it himself, to realize how great it feels to play sports. He realized it gradually. He was reluctant until the very end, but he attended all of the team activities and games. As I saw Satoshi-kun slowly regain his liveliness, I realized my plan worked. However, if Satoshi-kun was under that much stress, then Satoko-chan, who lived in the same family climate, must have felt the same way. Fortunately, I didn't think of her back then. So when Satoko-chan was carried into my clinic as a patient, I regretted doing nothing about her even while knowing the situation. Satoshi-kun recovered under my guidance, Satoko-chan was left alone in her stressful environment. Also around that time, there was an incident bad enough to make Satoko-chan collapse. That was, of course, her parents' deaths. The day of the Watanagashi festival was a very uncomfortable time for the Hojo family, because although it was a village festival, it was also a day to celebrate victory over the dam construction project. It's understandable that they would plan a family trip around that time so they could leave the village. Satoko-chan's parents fell off the cliff at the park they were visiting. It happened on such an unlucky day. Because it happened on the day of Watanagashi, people said it was the curse of Oshio-sama. People labeled the Hojo family as one that was cursed by Oshio-sama. The parents were given the cold shoulder by everyone in the village. So with their parents gone, Satoshi and Satoko should have been freed from that, but unfortunately the accident happened on the day of Watanagashi. That's why the members of the Hojo family continue to be shunned. Satoko-chan was the only one who was at the site of the accident. Satoshi-kun didn't go on the trip because he had an event with the baseball team. Therefore, the police mainly interrogated her. The detective, Uishi, suspected an act of organized crime by the village, so with Satoko-chan as the only witness on site, he drilled her with questions. She was as stressed as Satoshi-kun, perhaps even more, so of course she couldn't take it. During the interrogation, she began to wheeze and gasp for air. The anguished look I saw on Satoko-chan's face when she was carried into the clinic was very, very tragic. It broke my heart just to imagine what she had to go through. Coach, is Satoko okay? Yes, don't worry. She's a bit confused, but only temporarily, that's all. May I see her? She finally fell asleep, so I'd rather not wake her up just yet. Let's just let her rest for a while. Maybe it's a good idea to have her stay here for a few days, too. Don't worry. I'll take good care of her. Thank you. You know, Satoshi-kun is a great big brother who truly cares about his sister. He emphasizes deeply with her. In other words, Satoshi-kun worries and stress were reflecting Satoko-chan herself. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but while Satoshi-kun was of course sad about his parents' deaths, he may at the same time have been a little relieved that they were gone. His sister wouldn't have to be driven into a corner anymore. Unlike Satoshi-kun, Satoko-chan didn't have the social skills to get along with her stepfather. So putting her mother aside, I was certain that losing her father, the greatest cause of stress in her life, would bring great change to her home environment. But I couldn't believe what happened next. The two were sent to live in an even worse environment with their aunt and uncle. Although at that time I was rather optimistic, thinking this new environment would be better for the siblings. That was 17? Hojo's siblings. Okay. So my mind's eye is telling me that 18 is next. Mion Sanozaki. Strawberry milk candy. Okay. Mion-san, your friend is here. Heard the housekeeper's voice. Our house and the front yard are huge, so unlike normal houses, ringing a doorbell or yelling my name repeatedly, asking to play won't work. Okay, thank you. Who is it? Rika Furude-chan. Oh, finally. Can you tell Granny that Rika-chan was here? I think she's on the porch. Got the watermelon. Granny received many beautiful watermelons from somebody, so she wanted to share. Just called the Furude house a short time ago, and Rika-chan is here to pick one up. Did she come on her bicycle? Can't remember if it has a big enough basket. We pulled the watermelon from the well while thinking about that. The cold water in the well has refrigerated the watermelon, and the condensation makes it look delicious. The 3 members of the Furude family will enjoy it for at least 2 nights. Me? Am I supposed to take it home? I thought. What? Didn't your dad tell you? The priest answered the phone, and I thought I told him to come pick it up. Maybe I wasn't clear enough, or maybe he misunderstood me completely. She's here to eat the watermelon, not to take it home. Besides, the small basket on Rika-chan's bicycle won't hold the watermelon. It's too dangerous for her to ride while holding it in her hands. Mion, why don't you help Rika-chan take the watermelon? There's no way she can ride her bicycle while carrying it. Me, I can hold the watermelon. No, that's too dangerous. If something happened to you, I wouldn't know what to say to Oshiro-sama. Mion will help you. Okay, I will. I'll go say hello to the priest too. No matter whether she rides or pushes her bicycle, Rika-chan's hands will be occupied. So I'm gonna carry the watermelon. The sky is turning auburn in sunset. The cold breeze feels good on my sandaled feet. The plastic bag I'm carrying contains the watermelon. Also some small bags of rock candy. If her mother finds them, she'll take them away, so we decided to eat them before we got to her home. We opened the bags and enjoyed the rock candy. Rika-chan isn't an exception. Whenever kids from our neighborhood come to our house for errands, Granny gives them some treats. Actually, that's a pretty common role here in Kinazawa. It's funny, but sometimes when parents aren't watching, siblings will fight over who gets to take the circular notice to the next house over. So these bags of rock candy are like tips for them. Of course, she doesn't normally give out this much. Usually it's just a little piece of it. Granny's being extra nice to Rika-chan. Feel bad getting all this candy. Don't worry, Granny loves you. You should just thank her and put a big smile on your face, that's all. Do you get lots of treats? I used to. At this age, they don't give me any. If they did though, I'd probably feel I was being treated like a little kid. Me, I'm being treated like a child then. That's okay. Enjoy it while you can. When you become as old as me, you won't get any. You won't get any even if you wanted some. As we talked about ordinary things, I noticed Rika-chan seemed a little sad. What's wrong? Whenever I run errands, I get candy as a treat. But Satoko... What is going on with the text? But Satoko doesn't get any even if she comes with me. I can think of so many reasons why. Not only Satoko, but everyone in the Hojo family is being treated poorly in Yamazawa. And the Sonozaki family are the ones who instigated that. The 2 damn supporters have died in an accident already. But the malice against the Hojo family is still going. It's directed against Satoko and Satoshi, their children. And the aunt and uncle who are taking care of them. The big fight between the Hojo family and the Sonozaki family at the explanatory meeting started all this. But that was the Hojo couple. And it shouldn't have anything to do with the children and their aunt and uncle. But the idea that the Hojo family are traitors evolved on its own. Therefore, anyone bearing the Hojo name is to be treated poorly. The aunt and uncle weren't damn supporters. So over time, the attacks toward them should have stopped. But they're rather odd. They keep having trouble with their neighbors. They don't follow the community rules, and they don't do their community duties, and they spray pesticide while their neighbors' laundry is still hanging outside. They often get into fights with the other villagers. They'd be hated even without the dam. Therefore, the Hojo family continues to be treated poorly. But none of that should have anything to do with Satoko and Satoshi. Satoko and Satoshi are often in the press at school. I tried to leave the conflict between the 2 families aside, but I wonder how they really feel about that. From their point of view, I'm just another member of this family that keeps harassing them. I don't want any of that at school. That's why I try to be their friend while we're there. How can we get that to extend outside too, instead of staying in school? In the school. That'd be pretty difficult. The Hojo family made enemies of the 3 families. They were branded as traitors, and that's still considered the truth. It wouldn't mean anything if one person suggested an end to the hostilities, just because the events around the dam are history now. On the contrary, that would just put them in the same position. Unfortunately for Satoko and Satoshi, the only thing they can do is to wait patiently until the issue withers away. All I can do for them is provide an oasis until that day comes. So how long do they have to wait? I don't know. The dam conflict lasted for several years. They were branded back then, so it might take years to clear up too. Do you mean they won't be forgiven until they become adults? Will Satoko have to live out her childhood going through that? That's pretty miserable, isn't it? We're their friends, aren't we? Sure, they're my friends. We're all buddies. Then isn't there something we can do to help our friends? What exactly can we do? Even if the Sonozaki family declares that the dam conflict is over, so the Hojo family are no longer outcasts, that won't solve the problem. It's not that simple. In the first place, Granny hates the Hojo family and won't suffer their name to be mentioned in her presence. It's not a matter of someone forgiving another. It's a matter of very complicated ties between the people in this village. It's absolutely terrifying to have them as your enemies. Everyone knows that very well. That's why they maintain good relationships with their neighbors. However, if you make enemies out of them, you'll have to face the consequences. That's the unwritten law of the Japanese community. And the Sonozaki family is a part of this unwritten law. Now that the Hojo family are outcasts, not even the Sonozaki family can overturn the situation. So even if it's an issue of Hinamizawa, we can't do anything about it as Hinamizawa residents? Fortunately, that's probably so, yeah. If there's someone who can help Satoko, that person must be someone who has nothing to do with the village. But there's no one like that here. Not until Keiichi. Are you saying someone from the outside has to come help her? Like Rikuchan says, would a knight in shining armor from the outside world ever come here? Will that person bring in a new wind into this village that has been filled with stale air for hundreds of years? No way. That's just wishful thinking. Time will solve the problem someday. Until then, I have to be their ally. Can't think of anything else I can do for them. As Rikuchan and I crunched our rock candy, we can only pray that people will forgive Satoko and her family sooner rather than later. Rikuchan gently broke the heavy silence. I know. Eh? Now someone who has absolutely nothing to do with the village will come here from the outside. That's right. Damn conflict is over, so it'd be great if more people moved into those lots that are for sale. Wouldn't it be fun if a family with a kid our age moved in? He will come. I know. We'll break this evil practice alongside him. That'll be the first key to one of the 3 locks that have us trapped in the past. Eh? What's this? Are you talking about a novel or something? Mika-chan says some odd things sometimes. She talks that way, she seems so mature. I even start to doubt she's really younger than I am. The unreasonable antagonism towards the Hojo family. Will there really be someone from the outside who will shatter our old traditions? They're talking about Sora. Sora's gonna save him. Kind of seems like that kind of talk. What was that ending? It's Birth by Sleep, but it was what? I can't recall. That was page 5, so that's 18. So now we go to this one, the second sacrifice. The death of the construction site manager is required. The hospitalization of Satoka Hojo is required. That doesn't feel right, but I mean, I guess. I'm not questioning it. Satoshi-kun is a good brother who takes great care of his sister. Went to visit Satoka-chan straight after school and kept encouraging her to get better every day. Without even hearing Satoshi-kun's stories, it's obvious to me that Satoka-chan never had a good relationship with her step-parents. She especially didn't get along with her stepfather. Satoka-chan even called a child abuse hotline once. Not only that, her parents ended up dying in an accident, so she just wasn't able to withstand all that damage. Satoka-chan is still very young, so everything must have been horrible for her to go through. Fortunately, she has a wonderful brother. Emotional wounds are hard to heal, but nothing heals those wounds better than love from family members. I'm sure that one day Satoka-chan will be able to smile again. She's still in shock, but when she talks to Satoshi-kun, she smiles a little bit. Oishi from the police department keeps requesting to see her, but I think I need to protect her for just a little longer. While he's passionate about his job, I wish he'd be a touch more sensitive. If he reminds her of her parents' accident, her emotional wounds will start to open again. That's the one point I worry about with Satoka-chan. I heard someone knocking on the door. It was Takano-san. Doesn't look right, wearing nurse's uniform like that. She's a licensed doctor, so she should wear a white coat and act like one. Maybe this is fun for her, but I think she might be insulting the real nurses. Didn't say anything, though. Dr. Irie, may I talk to you? Oh, yes. Well, Satoshi-kun, if you'll excuse me. Ah, sure. Hello, Satoshi-kun. Please keep Satoka-chan company. She's always alone, so I bet she's lonely. Okay? Oh no, that's not true. Humph. Okay, Satoshi-kun, you're in charge. I got up and let Satoshi-kun take over. Did something happen? Not right here. Let's go to your office. Hee. Takano-san smiled meaningfully. Usually smiles bring happy feelings. When it comes to Takano-san, that's rarely the case. Are you sure? Yes. The initial test results show there's a possibility she's at L3 or above. We need to keep her here and run some more tests. The results aren't in yet, but from what I can see, it's very possible that she's at L4. Takano-san's eyes sparkled in a weird way. There's a reason for that. For us, finding patients in the terminal stage is a valuable boon to our research. In fact, as a result of dissecting the murder suspect from last year, we've made great progress in our research. In other words, we finally managed to isolate the pathogen. We also discovered that when the host dies, the pathogen melts away within a few hours. Once that happens, it's undetectable. That's why we never found the pathogen when we performed autopsies. Our research made a lot of progress after that. What we found in the past year has easily surpassed what the late Dr. Takano found in decades. We're now studying the nature, the effect, and the symptoms of the pathogen, as well as treatments and vaccines. In other words, a living specimen who's at the terminal stage is a necessity for research. However, we rarely find a patient who's gone that far, who's reached L5. Namazawa syndrome once created huge numbers of L5 patients, but today it doesn't have such potency. Because of that, we have to secure L5 patients, or patients who are close to reaching L5, as quickly as possible. Stoka-chan possibly qualifies to be that next sacrifice. To keep this strange disease a secret, can't let patients who may be at L5 go. We have to run more tests first, then we'll figure out what to do next. In any case, Stoka-chan seems so calm. Her behavior is nothing like the man from last year. Initial tests are an error sometimes. We have to wait for the results of more detailed tests to determine how serious her condition is. Okay. Let's admit her for observation. Please let the staff know to get things ready. It sounds like a formal answer, but if the results come back positive, that'll be the green light for her dissection. I don't know Satoko-chan that well, but I've known her brother, Satoshi-kun, to the baseball team for a long time. How can I dissect the apple of Satoshi-kun's eyes? I can feel scary images flashing in my head for the first time. Hehe. Don't worry. Everything is already taken care of. She smiled as if telling me that the dissection is already being prepared for, too. Is it just her who's smiling? Am I smiling like her, too? When I dissected that man last year, I did feel guilt beforehand. But once I started, it was like I was in paradise. All the pieces of the puzzle that were left by the late Dr. Takano fell into place, and at the same time they didn't. How exciting it was. Knowing that we are the first ones to take the first steps to solve a mystery, that is. I don't even know how to explain this feeling to those who have never experienced it. There's no way to describe it with words. The only thing I can say is that even a year later, I still remember it vividly. So if the results show that Satoshi-kun's beloved sister is to be dissected, can I control myself? Can I stay calm? But that means I'm a failure of a human being. I know very well that the Hojo family was treated poorly by the villagers, and know what Satoko-chan had to go through. Also, I know Satoshi-kun loves his sister, who is his one and only blood relative. How can I dissect Satoko-chan using my research as an excuse? I didn't feel much guilt for the man from last year. I feel unbearable guilt towards Satoko-chan. That means what I did last year was very sinful. I don't care if a stranger dies, but I don't want Satoko-chan to die. It's not right. All lives are equally precious. I tried to convince myself that he was a violent murderer, but maybe he only became that way because he was at the terminal stage. I don't know anything about him before he became deranged. Maybe he was a model citizen who was worthy of respect. Unfortunately, he became ill and ended up doing what he did. Maybe he was a victim himself, just like my father. I know more about Higurashi syndrome than anybody. This disease makes people act in bizarre ways, without those people realizing it. So when the people at the terminal stage do such strange and violent things, one should be sympathetic. I already knew that back when I decided to go down this path. I should have remembered it sooner, but I only did just now. I finally realized what simple research I'm working on. Satoko Hojo's detailed test results came back. The results say L5. She's at the terminal stage of the terminal stage. It's actually a surprising result. In last year's case, the patient was extremely deranged. According to Takano-san's records, he complained about itching coming from the lymph nodes all over his body, and wanted to cloud his throat, just as the late Dr. Takano mentioned. But Satoko-chan isn't displaying such symptoms. Even in the late Takano's data, throat clawing is said to be a characteristic symptom of terminal stage patients. However, not all patients experience that symptom. Besides, emotional expression is very different in each person. Even if it's the same emotion, one patient may express it rather violently, another may express it calmly. There's no way of knowing by just looking at a person. Satoko-chan's detailed test results say that she's at the terminal stage for the terminal stage, L5. In other words, she may be feeling what the man from last year was feeling. It's just that she isn't expressing that feeling the same way the man was. Hinamizawa syndrome affects the frontal lobes of the brain. It stimulates the most primitive of emotions, doubt, very strongly. As a result, terminal patients are trapped in delusions and paranoia, and then end up committing horrible crimes. Satoko-chan seems to show improvement when she's exchanging friendly words with Satoshi-kun. But there's a paranoia stirring inside her that may put her in a deranged stage at any moment. Can't let her leave the clinic like this. However, if things go according to the manual, I'll have to make a decision on her dissection. My decision will only be a formality. Can't actually refuse. Ugh. What's up, Effie? Takano-san appears to be already working on this dissection schedule. That plan will then come to me. Would I feel the same way while just dissecting Satoko-chan? Would I be able to experience that trance once again? No. The question is, can I fight the temptation? As I pretend to question myself, I'm letting Takano-san prepare things on her own. By doing so, am I passively agreeing to Satoko-chan's dissection? Thank I. If possible, I want to save Satoko-chan. I don't want her to be a sacrifice for this research. I don't want to dissect her. Well, then don't. Then what about the man from last year? Do I only care about the lives of the people I know? If I don't dissect her, do I let her live and leave the clinic? Do I simply wait for her to become deranged and commit a horrible crime? Then she'll end up here, just like the man from last year, and I'll end up dissecting her anyway. The man from last year was dissected alive. Kept that way for several months. Oh, jeez. With his skull left open, he wasn't allowed to die for several months. He was kept alive, just for our cruel experiments. See, that changes things. That's like, wow. Several months? I don't want to do that to her. I don't know what to do. Even debating and agonizing over it is leading toward consent for dissection by elimination. Sorry, Irie. That's, EDA loses points. It's like Maiden Abyss, Subarashi. But under silence. So that was 19? Okay. So where's 20? 20 is, okay. Suffering of the Big Brother. Rock candy as a treat is required. Satoko Hojo's detailed test result is required. This will probably be the last one, maybe. Because I think breakfast is on the way. A group of boys are playing baseball under the powerful sun. The sound of cicadas makes the heat stand out even more, but to those boys, it's just another kind of cheering from the crowds. Of course, they go through training exercises to build stamina. But the boys don't actually like such routine activities. What they look forward to the most is the free game after practice. The school in Hinamizawa is actually borrowed from the forestry service. The schoolyard is made of gravel, so it's not very appropriate for playing sports on. Compared to that, the grounds at the school in Okinomiya are properly maintained for athletic activities, so the kids grow even more energetic when they come here. Kids from Hinamizawa really don't care if the ground is made of gravel or not. The other instructor is watching. What are you doing? The other instructor is watching the game, so I decided to go get some drinks for the team. Coach, where are you going? Thought I'd go get some drinks for everyone. Some Capri Sun. Do you mind helping me, Satoshi-kun? Oh no, not at all. Satoshi-kun decided to come along with me. Sometimes kids don't like what grown-ups choose, so I'm glad he agreed to help. Satoshi-kun and I got in the car and headed to the grocery store nearby. Manager, how's Toko doing? Well, she's doing fine, though it's an extremely slow process. Her emotional wounds are healing. I think we should let her rest for a little longer. It's natural for Satoshi-kun to be worried. Satoko-chan has been in the hospital for over 2 weeks. Of course, he doesn't know his sister has Hinamizawa syndrome. Not only that, she's almost at L5. She could become deranged at any moment. He believes she's depressed because of the shock of their parents' accident. He came to the clinic every day to cheer his sister up. Satoko-chan has become emotionally unstable and was showing some dangerous symptoms, so we called off the visits. In fact, Satoko-chan is not doing so well. L5, the stage Satoko-chan is at, is a very abnormal one. The man from last year, who was at the same stage, was acting so abnormal that even a drug addict in his final stages would have turned and ran. There's no guarantee Satoko-chan won't fall into the same condition. When we performed the autopsy on that man last year, we learned the true identity of the syndrome and gained a great understanding of its mechanism. We even discovered some important facts that may lead to the development of a cure. However, we have yet to find a method of actually... Oats91, thank you for the follow. How's it going? However, we have yet to find a method of actually curing the disease. So if Satoko-chan becomes unrecoverable, we may have to dissect her, just like we did the man from last year. How can I tell Satoshi-kun about his sister's situation? All I can do is make vague comments and lie to him that she's recovering. What if she becomes much worse? That would make me an unforgivable liar. A tiny bit of conscience that remains in me hurts. If it's okay with your clinic, can she stay there a little longer? Why are you saying that? I thought he wanted her to come home as soon as possible, so I'm a little surprised. Well, actually, Satoko doesn't get along with her aunt. Heard she didn't get along with her parents, but she can't get along with your aunt and uncle either? Satoko doesn't open up to grown-ups. Satoshi-kun has told me about their family background. Their mother's constant remarriages wounded her children deeply. Satoshi-kun was able to overcome it, but Satoko-chan was too young to be able to do that. That left her traumatized, and she now has the tendency to distrust or dislike guardians who aren't related to her. Actually, nobody would like a guardian who isn't related to them. It's not just Satoko-chan. But usually people try to deal with that, even if they don't like it. I guess Satoko-chan's not capable of that. Our uncle isn't home much. Besides, even when he is, he's either sleeping or watching TV. So he's not the problem. But our aunt really goes after Satoko. Why doesn't she like her? I can guess why. Satoko-chan's parents were damn proponents, and because of that, the villagers consider the aunt and uncle part of the Hojo family, and ostracize them as such. However, they passed away, suddenly, in an accident, left 2 children behind. So I guess there would be more hate there than gratitude. If she had been obedient like Satoshi-kun, everything would have been fine. But Satoko-chan can't be that way. She shows that in her attitude and expressions, which leads to her and her aunt having a big fight. I told my aunt about Satoko's situation. She just can't understand. I think you're a great big brother, Satoshi-kun. You're the one and only relative Satoko-chan has left now. Right, I feel that way too. Satoshi-kun said with a slight hint of a sigh. He doesn't say it, but it seems Satoshi-kun has grown tired of having to cover for Satoko-chan every time he and her aunt fight. He's a good person, as well as a good big brother, so I'm sure he'll do anything to cover for his sister. That's a very exhausting thing to keep doing forever. Satoshi-kun was already doing that when their parents were alive. Eventually his mental equilibrium couldn't handle the strain. He grew sick, and he visited my clinic. Thought his circumstances might have improved after their initial cause. His parents were gone. But it seems things were even worse than before. I understand. Can't release Satoko-chan if things are like that. Her symptoms may return again. Don't worry about the hospital fees. I'll make sure Satoko-chan really truly recovers. While trying to pretend I'm listening to his requests, I would feel a little disgusted at myself for making such selfish excuses. I'll make sure. Takano-san is working on her dissection plan as we speak. If that's possible, that'll help you too. What? I mean, if Satoko stays at the clinic a little while longer, then I can relax as well. That's all. What do you mean? As soon as Satoko comes back, I know she'll get into fights with my aunt again. Then it's back to those days of constant fighting and screaming again. I'll probably get dragged into it too. So if Satoko were hospitalized for a very long time, that would be the easiest on me. When I think like that, I hate myself. Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun is a great big brother who always sticks up for his little sister. That doesn't mean he doesn't feel burdened. To think things like that, what a terrible big brother I am. The more I think that way, the more I hate myself. Satoshi-kun said, sniffling once. His expression was one of anguish, as if truly feeling his own sin. His desire to be a model big brother is putting himself under greater pressure. I feel bad for Satoku-chan, but I also feel bad for Satoshi-kun in a different way. As someone who knows the both of them well, I feel that I must be their ally, since I don't have anyone else. What? Shit. I don't have anyone else who cares about them. Okay. That's the line. That was close. Almost missed it. Background changed. Why? Are we getting closer and closer? Oh boy. Did it change after 10? Oh shit. I didn't notice. Wait, we can find out. Actually, wait. Load this one first. Oh shit, not that. Okay, well that's that background, right? Little star. Oh, it's the journal. Okay. I don't know why I didn't notice that. Okay, well, that's cool. Let's just see what the next one is at 30. But yeah. Alright, let's stream. Thanks again to Oats91 for the follow. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Maybe we'll finish the 50 frag. I don't know. That might be a little too ambitious. But we'll see. But yeah, it's good times. I guess we'll have to see. Play it by ear. I do want to finish this by Monday, for sure. So, that'll be the goal. For the record, the last 8-ish fragments are all really short. Okay. So, 42 to 50. Okay. So then... I guess we'll play it by ear. How long is the secret ending? Well, I guess I shouldn't know. Or shouldn't ask. Never mind. I guess we'll see. We'll play it by ear. But yeah. We'll go raid Effie. What other shortcuts? What other shoutouts do we have? Can't believe Stream Manager. Thanks again to Tom Olsky for the bits, Quinn for the raid, and yeah. I think that's all the shoutouts. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Midnight stream? I think so. I think we'll do a midnight stream tonight. So that'll probably be the goal. But yeah. Go say hi to Effie. Show them some love. I think they're playing Spirit of the North. So, if you're interested in foxes and spirits, go check it out. Yeah. Catch you guys later. Have a good one. Bye. Why can't it mute?